I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, build the win, apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And this is the last episode of previews before I do my playoffs, CFP, and my awards episode. As God, my hair, man. I tried to fix my hair before the show. It was not cooperating, as I can see. Should have put on a hat. But anyway, as you know from the title, I got a special guest. Family to the show, was here for the ACC. He's done multiple episodes on this pod before. He's done the 10 group of 5 schools to look out for episode before. Without further ado, my boy Ace. What's going on, Ace?
It's going well, man. Thanks for having me back.
All right, man. I see you're not in the group of 5 spirit. You got on a Miami Hurricanes jersey, man. We ain't talking about them. Well, technically group of 6, but I'm giving the Pac-12 some respect for their resurrection year, so group of 5. But, you know, you got on that Power 4, Power 5 conference jersey.
Hey, man, it's all yeah. I got to bring the energy. I'm never going to go against the Canes. You know, I may talk bad about them every now and again, but this year the energy is different, man. The group of 6 is going to have to wait.
I respect it for sure. But if you're new here, we both picked 10 schools to look out for in the group of 5. We switched up the format. Last year it was just straight 10 schools. This year, well, I actually think we did it our second year doing this. We changed it to 5 conference winners, and then 5 teams outside the conference winners to look out for. We do have some similar teams. We do have some differences, so it'll be on the bottom of the ticker when we have a similar team to look out for and when we have a different team. Some of our teams are different in terms of we might have a team that might win the conference championship, but another might not have it. We'll still talk about it in the same segment, and in that segment, we'll let you know whose champion it is if it applies. But, yeah, so we got 10 teams to look out for. I'm going to go first, then it'll be Ace, and then you'll catch it as we move on. But 5 conference winners we're picking today and 5 schools that we don't have winning the conference but can do some damage, and you should look out for them as well. Anyway, Ace, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Without further ado, we're going to start. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Ace. I lied. Because first I got to ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Definitely got to ask you to do that. Definitely helps the channel. It helps us grow. So definitely, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe to help the channel. And if you like what you're listening to, man, for sure. Now, with that being said, we're going to start with my pick, and that is the Delaware Blue Hens. So we're not going to do conference champions yet. That's normally last, but I have the Delaware Blue Hens as a team to look out for in the group of 5 this year. Last year, they came off a 6-6, 4-4 season. They won their bowl game. They won the 68 Ventures Bowl against University of Louisiana Lafayette 20-13, and they have a lot of starters returning. They probably have the most in the group of 5. Well, not the most because that goes to New Mexico, but they got probably the most in Conference USA. They have 12 starters returning. They have 7 on offense, with 3 of them being O-linemen and 5 of them on defense. Now, I will say the defense wasn't so great. So 5 defensive returners isn't necessarily the greatest thing, but you can mix some of that veteran presence in with people that's been there last year, the chemistry with some new guys, and hopefully get a more improved defense. As I will be putting a hat on when it's Ace's turn to go because I just keep seeing my hair and it's just not cooperating. But 12 starters back, namely they got Nick Minucci, the quarterback. He returns to the Delaware Blue Hens. He's coming off of a 322 of 512 season where he had 62.9% completion percentage, which is really good with 500 passes, 3,683 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. He also added 235 yards on the ground and 10 touchdowns on the ground as well. Joe Silver, another big component back for the Delaware Blue Hens at running back, who had 119 carries for 652 yards, 5.5 a carry, and 5 touchdowns. Sean Wilson, a receiver who had 68 catches, 877 yards, and 3 touchdowns, was the leading receiver for the Blue Hens last year. So that's a big return. And Elijah Sessoms, a tight end, had 22 catches, 190 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, defensively, they bring back Gavin Maul, a linebacker who had 112 tackles, 51 solos, a sack and a half, 3 pass breakups, a fumble recovery, and a scoop and score touchdown. They bring back Blake Matthews, the linebacker, who had 54 total tackles, 17 solos, and 3 pass breakups. They return KT Save, a safety, who had 91 total tackles, 62 solos, a pass breakup, 3 picks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Keshawn Cox, a cornerback, who had 30 total tackles, 18 solos, and a pass breakup. And Noah Matthews, the D lineman, who had 30 total tackles, 18 solos, 2 sacks, and a pass defended. Now, it's a big loss here for the Delaware Blue Hens. They did lose Kyrie Duplessis, but I feel like was one of their better vertical pass threats for the Blue Hens. He's now gone. He had 60 catches for 824 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's currently trying to make the Denver Broncos. Jake Dawes, another receiver they lost, who had 31 catches, 359 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jake Hall, D tackle, who had 35 total tackles, 15 solos, and a sack. Myson Pollard, a safety who had 66 total tackles, 35 solos, a pass breakup, 4 picks, and 2 forced fumbles. Marjay Malumba, a linebacker who had 54 total tackles, 23 solos, a sack, a pass breakup, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. And Nate Evans, a cornerback who had 37 total tackles, 23 solos, a sack, 6 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions, trying to make the Browns. Keyshawn Hunter, a defensive tackle who had 29 total tackles, 13 solos, 3.5 sacks, and a fumble recovery. And Dylan Traynor, a cornerback who had 30 total tackles, 15 solos, and 2.5 sacks. With that being said, they had the 120th overall recruiting class, 122nd in transfers, only bringing 13 transfer portal kids. And some guys I got highlighted are Bryson Graves, a receiver who had 35 catches for 330 yards and 2 touchdowns out of Coastal Carolina. Jaquise Alexander, a cornerback who had 28 total tackles, 20 solos, half a sack, 6 pass breakups, and a pick from North Dakota State. Jalen Bell, a safety from LIU, who had 73 total tackles, 38 solos, 4 pass breakups, a pick, and a forced fumble. Now, some numbers that I can only find conference numbers. I could not find numbers nationally, probably because it was their first year in the FBS last year. They moved up from the FCS, them in Mo State. So couldn't find their numbers nationally, but I have conference numbers for Delaware, where they were really good offensively, like I said, but defensively left a lot on the table. They were second in scoring offense, 11th in scoring defense. This is in the conference. First in total offense, 10th in total defense, 8th in rushing, 5th in rush defense, first in passing, 9th in pass defense, first in first downs gained, but then 8th in first downs allowed, and then 3rd on third down conversion on offense, but 9th in third down conversion percentage on defense. So, again, very good offense, not so great on defense. And it cost them some games last year. It cost you games like Western Kentucky, which that was a slugfest throughout. You ended up losing that one. I think turnovers actually hurt you in that game. But you got some wins too. Again, 6-6, 4-4. So a solid year there. But without further ado, we can get into the schedule for Delaware, where their first game of the year is at home against Merrimack, which I do have them winning that. Their second game is on the road against Vanderbilt, where I have them losing that. Third game is at home against Coastal Carolina. This game, I went back and forth with. I ultimately gave them a win because Coastal is with the new head coach, which is, I believe, Ryan Beard from Mo State, which Mo State had a solid defense last year. Left a lot to me to be desired on offense, even though that I think they had a solid quarterback. I think his name was Jacob Hall or Jacob Lane or something like that. I can't remember, but I do. Oh, Jacob Clark maybe, but he was solid for Mo State. Next, they played at UVA. That's an L. And then they play at home against Liberty, and I gave this game to Liberty. I did. I feel like Liberty brings back a ton of offense, which is going to be tough for this Delaware defense, who wasn't necessarily that good this year, and is the biggest question mark of my team. Well, of Delaware this year, not my team, but my team that I picked. So I went with Liberty. Now Liberty ain't the greatest on defense either, but they were better in my opinion than Delaware. So I gave this one to Liberty. So then next they play Middle Tennessee State, who Middle Tennessee State is competitive in terms of they be in games, but I got Delaware taking this one on the road. Next against Mo State, again, new coaching staff. So I gave this one to Delaware as a win. Then on the road against Western Kentucky, which Western Kentucky normally has some very explosive offenses and okayish to sometimes solid defenses. Last year necessarily wasn't the case. I feel like last year defense was not that good, but I still gave them a loss at Western Kentucky. They're playing on the road. No, Western Kentucky do have a new OC and quarterback, but they're normally fielding some. They had a new OC and quarterback last year with Rick Bowie and Maverick McIntyre. They still had a really good offense, so I'm gonna give them an L here. Then next they play at Kennesaw State, who is the Conference USA reigning champs. But as I was telling Ace backstage, I know they won. It just looked so ugly how they kept winning, and I don't know if I could put my eggs in that basket again. So I gave them a win against Kennesaw State. Then next they play FIU, who's also going through some turnovers. So I gave them a win against FIU. Then after that, they play at New Mexico State, which New Mexico State hasn't been the same since Pavia left. So I gave them a win here. And their final game of the year, they play at Jack State. I gave them an L against Jack State. So ultimately, I have Delaware going 7-5, 5-3, taking the over 6.5 win total by the hook, and having another solid year. Be a fun team to watch. Just defensively is another question mark going into this year. Same coordinator, so I'm interested to see how that looks. But without further ado, Ace, you're up, and your first pick is ECU.
Yeah, so well, first of all, let me say I think Delaware is a great, interesting team to pay attention to this season. It's always fun when you see those FCS teams come up, and after a couple years, see how they're doing. And I actually played in Delaware Stadium one time, I think, and oh, I'm sorry, no, that was I'm thinking it's Towson. But anyway, Delaware is
It's
always
funny. I
pretty.
ran into you that game after we were
Yeah,
done. We
yeah,
lost.
Kel. Yeah, I remember that. I definitely remember that. But either way, though, like just the jerseys and everything, you think of Michigan and all that stuff, just different shades. But anyway, let me get on the ECU. So I picked the ECU solely because Emory Williams, who was a former Miami Hurricanes backup quarterback, played a bit sometimes, broke his arm against Florida State. Very gutsy play, trying to get a first down on a comeback. But yeah, unfortunately, his time at Miami didn't go well. Also, I chose because of a wide receiver who transferred there named Ray Joseph, who I was very high on for a while. He just couldn't make his way on the field, unfortunately. But so yeah, ECU they head coach, I believe, what was Blake Harrell. Blake Harrell, former defensive coordinator, got bumped up to head coach after a couple years. I believe the head coach got fired or something. They're coming off a 9-4 season last year. Uh, Obviously pretty good, but they lose a lot of production from last year due to just people graduating, transfer portal, and things like that. These mid-major conferences get rated in the offseason. So it's always like each team is having to start anew. I mean, honestly, that's kind of true across the board, but particularly for teams in these conferences. Um, I think that it is also a portal heavy team, so that cohesion is going to have to come together pretty quickly. I think basically their entire offensive line is just yeah, they're all basically except for the left side going to be transfers, but they're all pretty seniors. They're all pretty senior in their careers, so I think that's going to help with them and playing in this conference and having some success. Granted, I think it's going to be moderate. Now, the thing about them that I find interesting is that they do have a new offensive coordinator coming in for Jordan Davis from North Texas. And I think that
Mm.
is going to bring schematically is going to add an element to their offense that I don't think that they quite had last year. If they can be able to play with tempo, the RPO, doing that effectively, and have those vertical shots downfield, especially with what I think Ray Joseph can do. And there is a quarterback battle. It's not very clear who the quarterback is going to be going into the season. But between Mitch Griffiths, I can't remember where he's coming from,
Wake
but
Forest and Duke. Well,
yeah,
I know Duke is one of. I think it's Wake Forest and Duke.
yeah, but I know he's between him and Emory Williams. It is like a very stark comparison between the two. Well, difference rather between the two because Mitch Griffiths is like a shorter guy. I think he's 6 feet. He's pretty agile. I'd say like he can make plays, but he's not necessarily like a top end kind of playmaker that you would want. And then you have Emory Williams, who is a big guy. He's about 6'5", 220 something or two whatever, and he has a big arm. So I think with the offense that Jordan Davis is going to implement in East Carolina, I think if Emory Williams can play his way into that starting spot, it's going to be do wonders for them because it just that explosion is going to make teams have to respect them. And I think in the American Conference, which is already kind of wide open, they could be a spoiler, they could be a contender. There's going to be upsets in these conferences, so these games they can go either way at the drop of a dime. Again, Blake Harrell, head coach, is still going to be doing things on the defensive side. He plays like a multiple kind of defense, so they get a lot of looks. The defense hasn't been like super elite or anything like that, but they've been pretty stable here and there at times. I think as long as they can do that, I think that it's like if they're not giving up 30 points a game, I think they're probably going to be good. I think a lot of this team is going to come down to the offense and how that kind of gels.
By
They
the
do
way,
have some momentum.
my
Yeah,
fault. Blake, not Blake Harrell. Miss Griffiths was Wake Forest and Texas Tech. My fault. So not Duke.
Texas Tech. Well, either way, we know he didn't really play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, well, let's just get into the schedule. Now, I do think that they have some momentum coming off of last year. They were a bowl team. I believe they won their bowl. Yeah, they played Pittsburgh in the Military Bowl,
Never betting
23-17.
Pitt again in a bowl
Hey,
game.
man, it is a hard lesson to learn, brother. Hard lesson to learn. But where did I have this schedule?
Yeah, that game was
Yeah, so
atrocious.
they usually are, unfortunately. Okay, so we have them starting out the season at Alabama. So obviously, talent gap. You got Keelan Russell. That's probably going to be his coming out game, maybe a bit. He might abuse them boys a little bit, unfortunately. So I think that's definitely going to be a L, even though Alabama's not Alabama anymore. So on to the next week, we have App State at home. I have that as a win, and I have that as a win because of the home field advantage I believe that ECU would have. It's a bit of a rivalry game. And I just think that, again, not to be the dead horse, but the offensive upgrades with the scheme, I think that is going to be something that these teams are going to have to take account for, and they may not be necessarily ready for what they possibly can do. Now, next we have a tricky one. We have Old Dominion on the road,
Ooh.
and I had that as an L. I just think that Old Dominion is a very physical program. They're a very consistent program. I think this is just one of those perfect spots that ECU is going to have an early stumble. They may not be able to play up to their opponent that week. Then next they have North Carolina Central at home. Obviously, there's going to be a talent advantage, probably a depth advantage as well. It's just two different leagues, so I'm giving them the win there. Then we have what I believe is their American Conference home opener versus Rice. Rice is in
That's
American
yeah,
Conference,
that's
right? Yeah.
American.
Yeah, so I'm not super huge on Rice. I think Rice is a decent program, but like any decent program in these conferences, there'll be ups and downs, and I think ECU is just going to be a tad bit of a better team this year and probably more explosive. Next, we have at UAB. I think this is a very winnable road game for them. I think that as long as the quarterback play is steady and the defense is holding decently strong, I don't think that they should have any issues with this team. Now, next, another road game. We have them at Memphis. I think Memphis is going to be another one of those tough teams in the league. I believe they have a lot of turnover, right?
Yeah, they do. They got new head
like
coach
coach.
Charles Huff,
Yeah,
new quarterback. Ryan Silverfield left for Arkansas. So
yeah. So that's a lot to deal with. Even though I will say though, I did give them the loss just because I do think that maybe pedigree of a program, I think Memphis might be a bit better. So even with all the turnover, I'm not going to lose myself because I think that a couple Miami players getting my moral support is going to make this team anything other than somebody to pay attention week to week,
I
but not
will
to be
say,
surprised by the. Go ahead.
ECU did beat Memphis last year, and that game was very electric.
Yeah, yeah,
And
true that,
but it
true that.
was, I want to say, it was at ECU.
It definitely was. Yeah, 31-27. Yeah, that does seem like a pretty good game.
Oh, it was fun. I watched it. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Yeah. Hey man, that mid-major bangers.
Hmm.
But yeah, they gonna take an L, man. Memphis gets their revenge. It's a road game, really no other reason than it's a road game, honestly. Next we have Temple. Not very high on Temple. Never really high on Temple. I think ECU should be able to control this one. Be a nice little bounce back from their loss. Now this next game I was 50-50 on. And again, I gave it to the home team, but this is playing South Florida at home. Uh, I think Brian Hartline is going to bring a lot to South Florida. I think that they also lose a lot, losing basically a lot of their team to Auburn. However, yeah, I do think ECU is going to win this one, and I think that's just going to be from a home field advantage.
Hmm.
Next, we have at Charlotte, the Charlotte 49ers. I believe this is also a rivalry game. If it's not, I'd be very surprised. Um, I think ECU is just a better team here. And I think they may not handle Charlotte, but I think that they'll definitely end up with the win there.
I don't think that's a rival game.
Um,
I'll try to think about it, but I don't like when they play it. I don't hear like, oh, ECU Charlotte battle for a second, but I can Google it real quick.
yeah. I mean, I'm just assuming just because of geography, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it do make
Nothing
sense.
beyond
Same
that.
conference, same state.
Yeah. Or if it isn't, maybe hopefully this year could be a classic and it starts one. Who knows? Um, but then I had them going up against Army. I think this is a bad matchup for them. I think Army is a very physical team. And I think Army is a very good team this year. The option is always going to kill teams, and I think the discipline that you have for that. I think if this ECU team had the discipline to shut down the option, I think they would probably, win in Memphis or, any of these other teams that I thought that they would lose to. So obviously I would have that as an L. Then I have their final game at Florida Atlantic. I have that as a win.
You know who at
Another home
FAU?
game. I'm sorry. Yeah. You said what?
You know who at FAU?
I don't. Who is that after you?
Caden Veldkamp, former Western Kentucky quarterback. He did lead he did lead the country in interceptions though with 17 last year.
Yeah, I'm I like gunslingers like everybody, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm giving them the win there, man. I just think that they'll have a decent season. Actually, pretty much a similar season to last year. I think they'll be a bowl team. I think they'll go 8-4 in the regular season and possibly win their bowl game, man. I think a decent season is ahead of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at that pick. I know ECU got picked apart, like you said, and random tangent about what you said. People love to complain about the group of five not being able to compete, but love to, pluck from these group of five schools. Like, oh, they don't got the
Absolutely. I mean,
y'all
look at
taking
the SEC.
everybody.
Look at the SEC this year. How many head coaches have they
Man, what
swapped
Golish,
or just gotten
Silverfield,
like, man,
for
people can
sure.
say those things, but I think that one, it's good when I think it's good when players and coaches from these conferences can go to other places because it
For
kind of
sure.
keeps the wheel rolling with good people coming in and out and keeping fresh faces. Because realistically, we can't expect these people to be there for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like some people, these are jobs for people.
Yeah.
Some people really don't like where they're living, or what I
Hmm.
mean, the kids don't like it. There's so many factors
Want
that
more
go
money,
into. Yeah, man, it's so many factors that go into why somebody is where they are, and
want Natty,
Uh,
Prestige, all that,
yeah,
bro.
man. Yeah.
Sure.
Like all these guys are competitors. Everybody wants to
Hmm.
get to the top, and the top isn't East Carolina or Liberty or Memphis,
For
or
sure. You're
those
absolutely
on.
correct.
Not no disrespect to those programs at all, but
Nah,
that's
but
just what it is.
you're not winning a natty at these schools. Like you're
Yeah,
just not,
yeah,
or you're not getting top dollar at
yeah.
these schools. So
You all are fighting for one spot, and that or two spots, and those two spots are to get dogged. you know.
I ain't gonna go that far. I mean, like, I
I mean,
love my group of
usually to
five.
get
You not,
dog. I know.
you ain't
I love
wrong.
them. I
Yeah, you're
love them,
not
but
wrong so
I'm just
far.
saying.
You're not wrong so far though.
Yeah,
You aren't wrong so far,
they're not
but no,
all
you're
gonna get
right.
dogged eventually, but
You're right though. I just
right
hate that
now,
narrative of these schools can never compete, but we're gonna pluck all their best talent from them and take
yeah.
them to the power forward, mixing them with all these great recruits, and then blame them for not being able to compete. It's like, bro, y'all taking the
But
time.
God forbid, when the Texases of the world come around and pluck their players, and then it's a problem.
Yeah,
The hypocrisy
it's
is crazy.
definitely so. But definitely ECU. I like to pick, man. Like you said, I know it's picked apart by the transfer portal, but they've been a solid mainstay in the American since Blake Harrell was taking over in 2024.
Yeah.
Like you said, won the bowl game last year, beat Pitt, which again never been Pitt in the bowl game again ever. I think I have a short about that. So even if I forget, just go on the channel and look at the short about me never taking Pitt in the bowl game again. We'll move on to a school that we both have.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. One more
Oh,
thing
go
about
ahead. Go ahead.
ECU. And shout out to Chris Johnson, man. Like, let's get
Oh,
some
for
energy
sure.
for Chris
For
Johnson.
sure. For
I hope
sure.
that translates as well. I hope he's able to even come out to one of the games or something. I think that'd be very important. At
That'd
least they
be
should honor him in some kind of way.
That'd be cool for sure. I 100% agree with you on that one. ECU alum for those who may not know, but definitely we with you, CJ2K. But we're gonna move on to Hawaii, where we both picked Hawaii. Now again, we didn't tell each other who to pick. We made our picks. I asked him for his schools yesterday. He sent them over, and it just so happened we both picked Hawaii. Hawaii had a really good year last year, going 8-4, 5-3 in the Mountain West. Surprising some people, including myself. With the hot shot freshman quarterback Micah Alejado, that offense was very explosive, can move down the field. Micah Alejado, a quarterback, Profili Ashlock and Jackson Harris at receiver, with a tandem to be messed with. Defensively, they had their days. Some days they were good, some games they weren't, but ultimately they had a really good year. They beat Stanford in the season opener last year, which I got clowned, I think, for not being high on Stanford in the comments. And of course, when they lost that game, the person that clowned me, didn't ever show up in my comment section again. Just funny how that works. But they won the Hawaii Bowl against Cal, which was a funny. First of all, funny enough, because Stanford and Cal are both rivals. They beat both of them. And secondly, that was a good game. How Hawaii went down early, came roaring back to take the lead. Nice little back and forth battle of the Hawaiian quarterbacks and JKS and Micah Alejado. So, and it was the lone game on. I want to say it was Christmas Eve. So it was the lone game on that night. Really fun
Sure
game to
was.
watch. Yep. Really fun game to watch. But Hawaii was just fun to watch in general. Now, they do have a bunch of turnover. Jackson Harris no longer there. Only returned 3 starters on defense, 4 on offense, 2 of them being O-linemen, and the other 2 being Micah Alejado and Profili Ashlock. Ace, talk to me a little bit about Hawaii before we go on to the returners and what they lost.
Yeah, man, I think Hawaii is going to, like you said, they're going to be a fun team to pay attention to this year, but they're not going to be like a cute little sleeper. They did go 9-4. They won a bowl game, so people are going to pay attention to them. The good thing for them is Timmy Chang has these boys rolling. You know what I mean? They have a legitimate quarterback. They have a legitimate wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
They have some defensive continuity coming into the season. I mean, the transfer portal does what it does, but I think they still have enough of a core where their team isn't really going to change philosophically, you know what I mean? And I think that they're going to have enough just to keep it together and continue the success.
Yeah, man. And funny enough, I remember watching one Hawaii game and Todd Gurley was just randomly there and they gave Todd Gurley an interview during the game. I was just like, what is Todd
That
Gurley
is
doing
crazy.
at a Hawaii game?
That is insane.
But sure enough, he was there to give him an interview. So salute to Todd Gurley. But without further
For
ado, let's
sure.
get into let's get
But
into these
you know
returns.
ball, man. What can you
Facts.
say?
Facts. So they returned Micah Alejado, quarterback, who went 285 with 430 last year, 66.3% completion percentage, 3,106 yards, 24 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Profili Ashlock, a receiver who had 76 catches for 827 yards and 8 touchdowns. Defensively, they bring back Jemiah Otis, Linebacker with 59 total tackles, 27 solos, a pick, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and a scoop and score touchdown. Elijah Palmer, a defensive back who had 52 total tackles, 27 solo. No, wrong person. 29 solos, 10 pass breakups, 2 picks, a pick six, and a fumble recovery. And hey, you know it's Hawaii, so I'm going to probably butcher some of these names. But
Yeah, for sure.
Lester Lysine Lagafuna, a D lineman who had 37 total tackles, 20 solos, 3.5 sacks. They lost Landon Sims at running back, who went 122 carries, 559 yards, 4.6 a carry, 3 touchdowns, 37 catches, 272 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jackson Harris, the big loss again, transferred to LSU. 49 catches for 963 yards and 12 touchdowns. 49 catches and almost 1,000 yards is a crazy yards per catch average. And then Brandon White, a receiver they lost to K-State, 38 catches, 399 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Peter Manuma, a defensive back who's trying to make the Patriots, 80 total tackles, 44 solos, a sack, and 7 pass breakups. Jalen Smith, a linebacker who has 60 total tackles, 28 solos, a sack, 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. Kalinahi Mandiola Jensen, a defensive back who had 47 total tackles, 28 solos, 5 pass breakups, and 2 picks. Jaheim Wilson Jones, a linebacker who had 33 total tackles, 24 solos, 4 pass breakups, and a pick. Dejon Benton, a D lineman who had 32 total tackles, 21 solos, 5.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. Vendrell Edwards, a cornerback who had 31 total tackles, 25 solos, 6 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. And Giovanni Iovino, a linebacker who had 36 total tackles, 15 solos, a sack, and interception, a touchdown. Anybody you want to talk about, Ace?
No, you pretty much got everybody, to be honest. You talked about Ashlock, right? I mean, the receiver.
Yeah,
Besides him, I mean, between him, like this is how I picture it. You know, this team is very, spacing dependent, very timing dependent. As long as they can stay on timing and get those quick routine plays. I mean, I'm not sure who their running back is though. Do you know who the running back is going to be this
I
year?
mean, they lost Landon Sims. I don't know necessarily who they're going to have plugged in because I was looking in the transfer portal and I didn't really see anybody. So I don't know what Timmy Chang plan is at running back this year. To be honest with you, I
I
can look
see
to
a
see if one is starting.
Cam Barfield, I think, and a Devin Rice that transferred in, but I'm not
Oh,
too
Devon Rice
familiar
from
with
K
these.
State.
Oh,
I
Devon.
haven't written that. I look, bro. It's right here. Devon Rice is right here. I got his stats right here in my face. I overlooked it.
Uh,
My fault. My fault. I do have
oh,
Devon
you're
Rice
good.
written down.
Yeah, I'm
It's
looking at
right
his
in my
stats.
face.
Looks like he hasn't really had too much, even though he did
Nah,
have
he
two
do had 3
touchdown
touchdowns.
rushes.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns
Yeah.
with 24 carries. I was like, all right, I don't know how he got them, but that's kind of
Well,
crazy.
two of them versus North Dakota, so there's that,
Okay,
and
but
one versus K State. Looks like he just came in, so it doesn't look like he has a ton of experience. And I will say this: I may not have a single player to talk about, but I will say I do think that it's important that they figure out what their ceiling in the run game is going to be. Because if they get too one dimensional, I don't think any timing. I don't think there's enough timing routes or screens that are going to be able to fully supplement a run game. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I
and
I, I think it's a question. It's for sure a question.
oh, for sure, it's beyond the defense. It's the biggest question mark on the offense, for
Yeah.
sure. And also, like you said, there's not enough screens and stuff. You lose your best vertical threat in Jackson Harris, so
Hmm.
you for sure need to establish a run game to get people open. But it does look like Cam Barfield had some experience last year with 80 carries, so he's
You're
looking to
you're
have a bigger role, and he's listed as the starting running back.
right. So how worried are you about the defense?
See, that is the thing. I would be worried if the Mountain West still had teams like Boise State, San Diego
Right.
State,
Yeah.
um, Fresno State still in the conference because those are teams that could like really run the ball a ton and have a ton of success. But the
Yeah.
Mountain West lost those teams and feels wide open. To be completely honest, the biggest threat seeming to me, at least, being to New Mexico and UNLV. So I'm not super worried
Yeah. And
because
also
the
those teams
competition.
don't seem like the same kind of teams you just mentioned. Like those teams are more physical. It seems like the teams that are left are more like, okay, all you have to do is just play your assignment, kind of limit explosives, tackle in
Yeah.
space. Yeah, I think that can kind of lend to what Hawaii is kind of built to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like the only team that really worries me in the Mountain West in terms of Hawaii's defense is UNLV because Jaden Thomas
yeah,
and New Mexico because I feel like New Mexico was a
yeah.
really good team defensively. and they can play like actual and what I call in the collegiate game NFL ball, which is run the ball and play really good defense and beat teams that way.
Right. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. I think those teams are definitely going to be the biggest hurdle for to them getting anything in this conference. But yeah, and I do think Hawaii is going to be a fun team to watch regardless, though. And they could possibly beat UNLV or whoever else. Uh, just depends on how they hold up, especially with travel as well.
Yeah, and it's not like Hawaii's defense was the main stay for Hawaii last year. Like the defense,
Yeah.
like I said, it had its good days, it had its bad days, but they, offensively were so good and made so many plays offensively. And plus, you still have to deal with the factor that you have to travel to Hawaii. I think that does
particularly for
affect,
UNLV for sure.
I think that affects some teams' games when they have to travel over to that island, the time difference and everything like that. I think that does bother some people.
And I think it definitely depends on how far you're coming from.
Mhm.
Like North Dakota State, that might be a little weird for them, especially that's probably going to be their first experience with such, like I guess,
Well,
crazy
they're playing.
travel.
Yep. North Dakota State is in
Uh,
Hawaii, so yeah, for sure that could definitely bother North Dakota
yeah,
State.
them UNLV.
Sac State, they play Sacramento State at home. That could be different for
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
New
absolutely.
Mexico, I don't think New
They, I
Mexico
mean,
is
they play at
different,
they
but
play at Northern Illinois this year, don't they? So
that could be crazy
that's
for
drastic.
Hawaii. Yeah.
That's drastic. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yep. Which shout out Northern Illinois, they're now part of the Mountain West. I forgot to announce the conference
Mhm.
realignment. I wrote it down, but I forgot to announce it, which I can do at the end of the segment. But yeah, man. So let's get into the transfer portal. They were 125th in overall recruiting class, but 104th in transfers, bringing in 18 transfers. But they brought in 7 defensive transfers. So a little under half of their transfers were defensive players, again, trying to re-rock the defense of last year. Now, some guys I wrote down: Spencer Elliott from Portland State, who's an edge rusher, had 42 total tackles, 26 solos, 6.5 sacks, a pass breakup, 2 forced fumbles. Again, I wrote down Devon Rice, looked dead in my face and said, "Oh, I didn't write down a running back." He had 26 carries, 94 yards, 3.6 a carry, and 3 touchdowns transferring from K State. Caleb Brown, a cornerback from VTech, who returns to Hawaii. He was at Hawaii in 2024, where he had 24 total tackles, 19 solos, 7 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Aldrich Harris, a receiver from Washington, who had 5 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Ozzie Pollard, a D lineman from Marian University. I don't even know where that is or never heard of that, but salute to them. 32 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 5 pass breakups. And Jonell Figueroa, a safety from West Georgia, who had 41 total tackles, 28 solos, 3 pass breakups, and 2 picks. Any transfer portal person you want to talk about? And salute to Joe for being in the comments.
No, sir. We can head on.
All right, I got some numbers before we get into the schedule. There was 62nd in total offense, 61st in total defense, 56th in scoring offense, 62nd in scoring defense, 7th in passing, tied 84th in pass defense, 127th in rushing, which is again why I'm a little more worried this year about the run game than I was last year because again Jackson Harris is gone, but I feel like they'll be all right. 44th in rush defense, 29th in third down completion percentage on offense, 46th in third down completion percentage on defense. Second, however, in red zone offense with a bad run game, which is actually impressive, and 82nd in red zone defense. Now let's get on to the schedule. Where first, Hawaii will play in a rematch. Stanford on the road. I got this as a win. I think they do it again.
You had that one as a win. I had that one as a loss. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think they're gonna do it again. I think Stanford might be a little bit better this year.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about Stanford. Plus, new head coach, first time head coach. Get it? This is an Andrew Luck hire, and I believe he was with the program before. I want to say he was actually a player at Stanford before, if I remember correctly. But I'm sorry. I think they get it done again.
I feel that. I don't know, man. I just like with Andrew Luck. I like the idea of him turning the program around and they're focusing on football, all this stuff. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't be surprised though.
Yeah, he was Stanford.
I would like if Stanford lost. I would like if Stanford lost, just so they can just be already down when we see them the next week. Because we got to go there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, travel across the country, ACC, both coasts. That's still crazy to me. Next, because the whole point of the ACC name was the Atlantic Coast Conference. Now you're playing teams on the Pacific Coast. Like you defeating it.
It's like they need to just revamp everything, rechange the names. Like let's just ditch the tradition. since we're already breaking all the rules, let's just do something new, man. Like we don't gotta hold on to everything forever.
Yeah, we'll move on to, as we mentioned earlier, at home against UNLV. And I got this as a loss, man. I think Jada Thomas run crazy.
I have it as a loss as well. I think that UNLV is going to be a very good team. Yeah, I don't think Hawaii has enough, even with the travel for UNLV.
Yeah, I think Jada Thomas runs crazy. Jackson Arnold, he got to show me something. He didn't show me something at Auburn. I tried to give him a pass at Auburn because he had like his top 6 receivers at Oklahoma was hurt. His freshman year at Oklahoma, he definitely for sure has to show something with Dan Mullen and
Yeah,
Jada Thomas a running back. But that run game with him, that rushing attack threat of Jackson Arnold could be deadly at UNLV.
for sure.
We move on to at home against New Mexico State. I have this as a win.
I have this as a win.
All right, next at Wyoming. While Wyoming does have a solid defense, offensively they give me nothing. Give me a win here.
Yeah, I have a win as well. I think it's going to be a physical road spot, a physical
Mm-hmm.
game, the travel as well. However, I think, just the more explosive team wins here. I think that's just all it is.
Yeah, and I know it gets windy in Laramie. Shout out to Cover 3 Pod, but I think Michael Malahado can navigate that. But we'll move on to at home against San Jose State and shout out Coach the old Navy coach. I don't even know why I tried to pronounce Coach Ken. We'll say that. Anyway, I have this as a win.
I have it as a win as well.
All right, we move on to at Arizona State, where I have this as a loss.
Yeah, I have it as a loss. I mean, it makes sense.
Okay, then back at home, where they take on New Mexico, I have as a loss.
I also have this as a loss. I think New Mexico is going to be a tough team to deal with this year.
Me too. And then back on the road against NIU, which I do think this is crazy for Hawaii, but I'm not big on NIU. They do have coaches turnover. They did fire their head coach, long-time head coach, Coach Hancock, but I do have this as a win.
I have it as a win as well. Like you said, I do think it's going to be a tough thing to deal with the travel, but I'm also not very big on NIU. I think that this Hawaii team brings more explosion than they are used to seeing in the MAC.
I am excited to see Teron Dickens versus Michael Alejado, though. That should be a fun quarterback matchup.
Yeah.
Next, on the road against UTEP, newly added to the Mountain West, but UTEP has been bad in the Conference USA. Mountain West is not a conference where you move up to be better. I have this as a win.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I have it as a win. I think they're just a little bit outmatched right now.
Yep. Then back at home, taking on North Dakota State, which because they're at home, I have this as a win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a dangerous game for them. I think North Dakota State can probably disrupt their timing based offense and, probably get to the quarterback a bit, but I don't think they'll out physical them that much to where that they'll lose. I think the travel might get to them.
Yep, and like we said, this could be a spot where they're also sluggish because of the time zone difference and things like that. But we'll move on to at Nevada. Jeff Cho, I bought the Nevada shirt last year. I said I believed in what you talked about. I don't know if I believe anymore. I had this as a W.
Yeah, I have it as a W as well.
And last but not least, the final game against Sacramento State, newly added to the MAC. I have this as a win.
I have it as a win as well. I don't think Sacramento State has enough. And aren't they like paying teams to travel to come to play them or something like that? I could have sworn I seen something like that.
I don't remember seeing that, but I can look that up real quick because I don't remember seeing that.
I might have heard it on the podcast or something.
Let's see. Sac State paying teams.
You said like paying for their travel, I think. But I think it's East Coast teams to come over. It may not necessarily be like.
Nah, I see. Only thing I see is them paying their fees to enter the FBS and transition fees. I don't see anything about paying other teams.
Well.
But I mean, that's just a quick Google review. So just you still could be right. It's just something I didn't see. But yeah, Brendan Marion, he left Sac State. He went to go be OC for Colorado. I can't do it. But that leaves me with a final record of 9-3, 6-2, taking the over 7.5, which I think we have the same thing.
No, I have them 8-4. I had them losing to Stanford.
Oh, Stanford, that's right. The Stanford game. That is the only difference. That is correct. I forgot that fast. Yep, the Stanford game. But we still both have the over 7.5 for Hawaii having another good year. Now, unfortunately, Ace, I have to do my own thing because next is my pick, and that is the New Mexico Lobos, who, if y'all remember last year, was in a four-way tie for first place in the Mountain West last year and lost out on tiebreakers. It was between San Diego State, New Mexico, Boise State, and UNLV. Boise State and UNLV made it to the Mountain West Conference Championship game due to the tiebreakers. I kind of wanted to see New Mexico get there because they started off slow. Um, they took a bad loss, I want to say, to San Jose State early in the year, but then rallied and had a great end of the year to finish 6-2 in conference. I kind of wanted to see if they could keep the momentum going and win the Mountain West. I don't think they would beat Boise State though, because it just proved that Coach Danielson, and Boise State is just the kings of the Mountain West ever since he took over. But it'd have been a good game to watch. It might have been better than Boise State UNLV to watch, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, they finished 9-3, 6-2 last year. They lost the Rate Bowl, which was a great game. I was on the main show, I want to say, when Minnesota scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime against them to win. Well, I say game-winning touchdown, duh. But it was a fun game to watch before I got on the main show. So for sure, and the reaction is actually up. It's a short on the R2L channel. So that was a fun game to watch. But they returned the most starters in the group of 5 with 14, 8 on offense, 4 of them being O linemen. So they returned most of their O line play for 5 and 6 on defense. So, and I feel like defense was their strong suit last year. Shout out to the defensive coordinator, Jason. No, he's not the defense coordinator. Head coach, Jason, excuse me, had a great defense last year. But they returned Jack Lane, a quarterback who went 213 and 327. 65.1 completion percentage, 2,486 yards, 13 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions. Got to get that, not only 10, excuse me, 10 interceptions. Got to get that interception number down for the New Mexico Lobos. He also added 152 yards on the ground with 4 rushing touchdowns. They returned Sean Miller, a receiver who had 15 catches, 199 yards and a touchdown, and Zaneo Smith, a receiver who had 8 catches, 412 yards, and Cade Keith, a tight end who had 20 catches, 253 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, defensively, they returned Jackson Eck, a linebacker who had 128 total tackles, 65 solos, a sack and a half, 2 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Tavion Combs, a safety who had 71 total tackles, 35 solos, half a sack, 3 pass breakups, and a pick. Mercury Swain, a linebacker who had 52 total tackles, 26 solos, 2 sacks, and 2 pass breakups. CJ McBean, a safety who had 40 total tackles, 25 solos, and a pick. Abraham Williams, a cornerback who had 22 total tackles, 17 solos, 3 pass breakups, who played corner last year but is converting to receiver this year. So very interesting move there. They said, from what I've researched, was they did that to use his speed. I think they said he had long end speed, and they felt like him playing cornerback is the reason why he kept getting hurt. So to prevent injuries, they moved him to receiver, which that's something new to me. I never really heard of you switching size of the ball is going to prevent you from injuries, but hey, it's worth a shot. If you feel like you got a guy who's very fast and you would love to get the ball in his hands, why not? But
It sounds like one of those analytics things.
Yeah. Last but not least, Brian Booker, a D lineman with 19 total tackles, 10 solos, a sack and a half, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery. Now, they did lose their running back, Damon Bankston, who's trying to make the Giants, who had 114 carries, 635 yards, 5.6 a carry, and 5 touchdowns. 31 catches, 397 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Keegan Johnson, a receiver who had 61 catches, 772 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That was a big loss for them. And Dorian Thomas, the tight end, was another big loss, who transferred to Cal, who had 56 catches, 560 yards, and 4 touchdowns. John Johnson, a cornerback who had 54 tackles, 36 solos, 6 pass breakups, a pick, and a fumble recovery. Keyshawn James Newby, an edge who's trying to make the Eagles. He was actually drafted in the 7th round. 52 total tackles, 29 solos, 9 sacks, 5 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. Brett Kerhu, a DN who had 29 total tackles, 17 solos, 7.5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. And Kawan McCray, a D tackle with 38 total tackles, 18 solos, a sack, 2 pass breakups, forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Now, they had the 90th overall recruiting class, 105th in transfers with 19 transfers. A guy that I have highlighted is Miles Williams, a receiver from Eastern Washington. He had 41 catches, 524 yards, and 2 touchdowns, looking to help replace the loss of Keegan Johnson. Armani Arnold, a cornerback from Cincinnati, with 16 total tackles, 9 solos, and 3 pass breakups, trying to help bolster an already really good group of five defense. Bring some power four, power five conference talent. Eric McLean, a cornerback from Ball State, who had 28 total tackles, 21 solos, 2 pass breakups, 2 picks, and 3 forced fumbles. So it looks like this guy is a turnover machine, 5 total turnovers, and it's crazy when your cornerback has more forced fumbles than interceptions. So it means he's not afraid to get his nose dirty in the run game. And Troy Omir, a receiver from UNLV who had 31 catches, 514 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So some numbers from last year: they were 88th in total offense, 41st in total defense, 72nd in scoring offense, 46th in scoring defense, 90th in passing, 86th in pass defense, 77th in rushing, but 21st against the run on defense. Tied 71st on third down conversion percentage on offense. Tied 75th on third down conversion percentage on defense. 95th in red zone offense and 96th in red zone defense. On to the schedule, where their first game they will be taking on Central Michigan at home, which I do have this as a win. Central Michigan's a solid MAC school, really good defensively. Offensively gives me nothing. Beyond, they had like Lou Nichols a couple years ago. They tried to hype Burt Emanuel at quarterback, just never saw it. He was just a running threat, couldn't throw the ball for real. I want to say he actually went to San Diego State last year. I just can't with Central Michigan. Sorry, cousin. My cousin graduating from there. Sorry. At home against Mercyhurst, I have this as a win. On the road against Oklahoma, loss. Don't need to explain that. On the road against New Mexico State, I do have this as a win. Again, New Mexico State just has not been good to me since Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers left. Then they play at home against UTEP. I have as a win. On the road against Hawaii, I think defensively they will affect Hawaii enough to beat them, even though they are on the road and could come out sluggish. That is a thing, but I feel like they won't. I feel like Coach Ecker have them ready to go. They played North Dakota State at home. I do have this as a win. I think this will be a low-scoring affair, battle of the defenses that New Mexico will just pull this game out at the end. On the road against San Jose State, I have this as a win. Again, very good defense. I think San Jose State can be ran on. So this will be and it's a revenge game. It's a game that New Mexico probably shouldn't have lost last year. So we'll see about that one. At Nevada, I have as a win. Again, Jeff Choate. I need to see the believe at this point. At home against UNLV, I have their first Mountain West loss against UNLV at home because I just feel like Jackson Arnold and Jaden Thomas is going to be a lot to stop there. On the road against Wyoming, another defensive affair, but I think New Mexico defense is a lot stronger than Wyoming's defense. I just feel like Wyoming defense is solid, but it looks better than what it is because their offense just gives you nothing at Wyoming. And their last game against Air Force could get tricky because Air Force in that option can definitely be dangerous, and they could sway how things go for some teams. But I do have this as a win, having New Mexico finish at 10-2, 7-1, taking the over 8.5 win total for New Mexico. Shout out to Kev in the comments. G5 is the group of five. So basically, well, it might be G6 to most people. I gave the Pac-12 their respect. Yeah, I gave the Pac-12 their respect. So it probably will change next year. I already announced it on the Pac-12 episode. But basically, the group of five is the American Conference, the Sun Belt, the Mountain West, the MAC, and Conference USA. But appreciate you, Kev, for tuning in. But I'm going to pass the mic to my boy Ace, because now it's his turn to go over Liberty.
Yes, sir. Now Liberty. Liberty coming off a pretty bad season by their standards last year. I believe they went 4-8. But they had a new head coach, right? This is his second year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I thought Jamie Chadwell from Coastal was their head coach.
He is.
But he's been there
for a while.
I think this is his third year there.
Okay. Well, yeah, sophomore slump, clearly. However, I do remember that like 3 of their games were in overtime, or 3 of their losses were overtime. I think that was particularly towards the end of the season. So that's not to say that this team. I'm sorry, 4th year?
Yeah, he was there 2023.
Okay, yeah. So either way, I'm just interested in Liberty because I've always enjoyed watching their run game, right? Liberty has always had a very explosive run game, and what I find very interesting about them going into this season, they've had like a slew of transfer running backs that came in, and all of their running backs are very capable and have shown that they can do something on the level. They may not have had a ton of playing time, all of them, but you got Cam Davis, I believe he's from Florida State coming in.
I remember him.
Peyton Jones. I'm sorry.
They was hyping up Cam Davis like as a freshman 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
him.
They thought he was going to be that. You
Hmm.
got Peyton Jones. I believe Peyton Jones is from Army, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see real quick.
I
Oh
got you.
no,
Keep
he's
going.
from Duke. He's from Duke. Peyton Jones is from Duke. He was a guy who didn't really get the chance because Duke had such a great running back last year, but he is
Man,
capable. And Kanye Udo, he
from
came
Army, he's
from
still in the league.
Army.
He's still in
Yes,
college.
yeah,
Playing from Arizona
yeah,
State
him,
last year.
yeah. It was Arizona State, not Army.
No,
But
he was at Army
well, he
two
was
years
at Army
ago. Yeah.
previously, and then Arizona State.
Hmm.
But he is a very good running back, obviously very capable. I believe he had over 700 yards in one of those seasons. And then
It
you
was
have
probably 2 years
Makai
ago.
Jackson. I'm sorry.
It was probably 2 years ago when they won the American Conference, when they beat Tulane in the American
Yeah, it
Conference
had to be.
Championship.
It had to have been. But you also have Makai Jackson coming in. Makai Jackson from for App State, and then he went to Indiana, and
Okay.
he didn't really get a lot of burn in Indiana last year, but he was very
Hmm.
capable at App State. Now,
Hmm.
when we talk about Liberty, the question is quarterback, right?
Hmm.
The quarterback last year, his name is
Ethan
escaping me
Vasco,
right now. Ethan Vasco
who got hurt.
did get hurt, but he also wasn't like the
Yeah.
craziest either. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And I think that obviously, I think that he has a chance. I think it's pretty much going to be a battle between him and this kid, Deshaun Purdy,
Oh,
from
from Charlotte. No, from Wake
yeah,
Forest,
from
but he did
Charlotte.
go to Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly. He did go to Charlotte, then to Wake Forest. I think that I don't think he always had a ton of time to shine. I don't think he played much at Wake Forest,
He
but his
didn't. He
year at
got
Charlotte
yeah.
was decent.
Hmm.
It
He
was
was
decent.
cool.
1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not the greatest in the world, but I think that if you have him in there, obviously he's less of a runner than Vasco. And however, I think with Makai Jackson coming in, that caliber of receiver who can be a playmaker, I think it could be enough, especially with this running game. I think the depth that they have there is going to be a lot for the Conference USA. And this is not to say that they're going to be like Jack State running over everybody and just winning and everything, but I think it does give them a great chance with a lot of the games that they're going to play.
I will say
So
Jimmy
with that,
Chadwell would love to be that. Remember
yeah,
Grayson
yeah,
McCall in the Man Coastal?
yeah. And I think that he wants that with Vasco, because Grayson McCall could do both, and it was
Yeah.
the threat of whatever he was going to do that
Hmm.
had teams so on edge. But I think that he had some of the ingredients, and there there's room for a lot of volatility, obviously, because it's the Conference USA, and teams go up and down. However, also Aaron Fenimore, he's a great center. I think he is going to be a great leader of that line, and going to help perpetuate that physical nature that I think that this team wants to be, and and how they are when they are at their best,
Hmm.
right? So let's go to the schedule.
Yeah. I will say Liberty gave JMU a scare for quite some time last year.
Yeah, yeah, and they play JMU pretty tough,
Yeah.
and ironically, they're starting off at JMU, right?
Hmm.
So a battle between the Sun Belt power. Unfortunately, I do think that they are going to lose. I just think that James Madison is a better team, better program. That has to be a rivalry, right? Both in Virginia.
I don't know if it's technically a rivalry because JMU just moved up like 3, 4 years ago. They could be it could be
Eh,
manufactured into one for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean, yeah. You're right, actually. But again, I'm just same state, close enough. Let's just go, right?
hmm.
So, but anyway, that's definitely going to be a loss for them, unfortunately. The next you have Gardner Webb. Gardner Webb, not the greatest team. I do see this as a clear W for them, a home win at that, their home opener. So from there, then we're going to go on to Ball State. Ball State, decent program, very up and down over the years. But a home game, also another game that I think they're going to be able to control it with the run game, with the slew of running backs, and just just be able to pound the ball and run the clock out, handle their business. Next, we have them going to Coastal Carolina. This is going to be a game on a short week. And granted, Coastal Carolina is a team that's not really the greatest. I guess they're probably still a bit of a rebuild mode, but I
They
do
just got
think
a
it's
new
a
head coach.
dangerous team. Yeah. So I do think they're a dangerous team though, even still. On a short week on the road, I just have this being the L. I think, this may be a game where they have to be more explosive or, turnovers may plague them, something like that. You know how the college game can be.
Mm-hmm.
So next, tricky game at Delaware. I think that the run game and the scheme may give them a bit of advantage, which is why I'm going with them for the win.
Okay.
Obviously, I think it's going to be a tough game. I don't think that Delaware is an easy opponent by any stretch. However, I just think it's going to be a good conference road win for them, and hopefully, they can carry that on further into the season.
I had Delaware losing that game too.
Great, even better. So next we got Sam Houston State. Sam
Sam
Houston
Houston.
State.
Sam Houston.
Oh,
I think they
Sam
dropped the
Houston.
state from that. They
Really?
dropped the state. Yeah, I think like 2 years ago they dropped the state.
Well, I mean, it's not a state, so I
Yeah,
understand.
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, it makes it a little simpler. So Sam Houston. Sam Houston looks like they're going to be a W for James. I'm sorry, not for James Madison. For who am I talking about right now? For Liberty. W for Liberty. I just don't think that Sam Houston really not that they don't compare, but I think it's just a bit of a talent difference there.
Mm-hmm. No, I 100% get what you're saying. I don't even think, bro,
Next,
any there anymore either. Their quarterback, what's his name, Hunter Watson.
I don't know. The name actually doesn't ring a bell, unfortunately.
Who's
Next
the
at
quarterback last
Kennesaw
year?
State, we have another W, I would say. I think that Liberty is going to have a nice turnaround this season. I think that they're going to be able to play physically. Their defense is going to do just enough for them to win a lot of these games. I don't think that they're playing any teams, especially going forward in the schedule, that are like out of their range or unbeatable, to be honest. So I have them getting the win right there.
Okay.
Now, next at New Mexico State, obviously, the travel may get them a bit, but like you said, New Mexico State hasn't done anything since Pavia, and I don't think that that's going to change just because they have to go across the country. So that's another win on the road. Next, I have them playing Middle Tennessee. I think Middle Tennessee is probably one of the worst teams in the country this year.
Oh, for
Very
real?
not high on them. Yeah, I don't see a lot. I don't
I
see
mean,
a
they
lot
did.
there.
They lost what the running back Middle Brooks. They got some, and then I think Nick Vitato is finally gone
Yeah.
from Middle Tennessee. So you might be right.
Yeah, or it could just be the hate in my heart from years past. But
Oh, I forgot that happened. Oh my! I forgot.
could be a hate in my heart. But you know what? It's all right. Mario turned around. Anyway, so that's a
Oh,
W. Actually, I would just do this. So next, I have them versus against Western Kentucky, which I do think is going to be a tough game for them. I have them beating Western Kentucky though. I think it's going to be a big win.
that's
They're
fair.
at home. So it's just going to be a big Conference USA win for them. The next a finale on the road at Missouri State. I think talent discrepancy obviously, and they're going to win. So I had them going 9-3 and 7-1 in the Conference USA. I think I have them. It's going to be a big turnaround from last year, and I have them playing my
Conference USA
Conference
champ.
USA champs.
I was about to say with that record, you got to have them in the championship game. I will say
100%.
most they got new head coach because their head coach Ryan Beard left and took the Coastal Carolina job. I can't remember who's their head coach at the moment right now, but most they was solid. I could see Liberty
Oh,
definitely
hold on.
dusting them off though, but they were solid. Um, I forgot that happened. I promise you, I erased that from my memory banks, bruh. I probably
I
would
should
never
too,
bring.
honestly.
I might bring it up not for y'all, but for Kev purposes, because I know Kev don't know what we talking about right now. But hey, bruh, that is hilarious. But while we went on Ace to get back in camera, I'm not mad at his Liberty pick at all. I do feel like last year they dealt with injuries at quarterback with Ethan Vasco. They were in a lot of games. They were competitive. It's just didn't come out with the results they wanted. And I feel like Jamie Chadwell, he's a good head coach. I mean, we saw him turn around Coastal Carolina, win the Sun Belt title. In terms of a tiebreak due to the illness that swept the nation. They tied with Billy Napier in University of Louisiana Lafayette in 2020 for the Sun Belt Conference Championship. They didn't play the game, but both of them got rings, so salute to him for that. He had Coastal pretty much a 10-win team with Grayson McCall and Coastal previous to taking the Liberty job. So I'm not mad at your pick with Liberty at all. But we both back on the mic because we are both talking about JMU, James Madison, who is coming off of a college football appearance where they lost in the first round to Oregon 51-34. But previous to that, they had an 11-1, 8-0 season. The crazy thing about JMU, they only lost to Power 4 conference schools last year. They lost to Louisville, which they were up 14 for like a good bit against Louisville before Louisville in the second half pretty much dominated. First half, though, however, JMU was dominating them, getting stops on fourth downs, not allowing short yardage conversions easily. It was a good game to watch. If you were a Louisville fan in that game, you were probably nervous going into the second half. But yeah, those are the only two losses they had: Louisville and Oregon, which are Power 4 schools. Other than that, they went undefeated against a group of 5 schools. They went 8-0 in the Sun Belt, 11-1. Won the Sun Belt Conference Championship against Troy, 31-14. So just, which I think was their first ever Sun Belt Conference Championship due to them having to sit out because of the stupid transition rule where that doesn't allow you to instantly
because that was their first year, right?
Yeah. So Signetti could have got one at JMU, but he wasn't allowed to play in the Sun Belt Championship game due to the transition rule. But they only returned 3 starters, however. So a bunch of turnover. They returned 1 offensive lineman and 2 defensive players. But before we get into that, I do have to discuss their new head coach because Bob Chesney has left and taken the UCLA job. Billy Napier's back in Sunbelt, baby. Florida didn't work, so I'm gonna come back to the conference where I had some dominance. I'm going back to the Sunbelt. Again, when I was talking about Chadwell going against ULL, he went against, he was supposed to go against Billy Napier. The game didn't happen due to that, illness, but Billy Napier has a couple Sunbelt championships, and if I remember correctly. So while that Louisiana Lafayette, they ain't been the same since. They did make a Sunbelt championship without Billy Napier in 2024, where they lost to Charles Huff and Marshall. They got spanked by Marshall. But he's back at the Sunbelt, and he's looking to take over the conference, take it back over. So he's brought over OC Cam Aiken, who was the offensive coordinator / quarterback coach last year at Eastern Tennessee, which at Eastern Tennessee, he had the best offense in the FCS. So looking to bring another explosive offense to JMU. And he brought over his co-DC and inside linebacker coach from Florida last year, Robert Bala, which if for me personally, if you haven't watched the SEC episode, go watch it. It's out. And I will be breaking up episodes later on today. But Florida, to me, defensively was not the issue. It was the turnovers offensively. And just offensive in general was the issue for Florida. So I think he's going to bring an explosive offense to JMU while bringing a stout defense as well. Ace, talk to me about JMU.
Yeah, man, like you said, JMU is definitely going to be an interesting team to pay attention to. I mean, basically, they're a legacy team in the Sun Belt at this point. They're perpetually favorites to win. They've constantly shown that no matter who's the head coach, they're going to go out there. They're going to be a physical team. They're going to be an explosive team. They're going to play at their best every down, basically. And losing Bob Chesney is going to hurt. Losing Bob Chesney, losing Lonzo Barnett, losing Wayne Knight, multiple defensive playmakers. This is a complete. Yeah, this is a complete turnover. Like we talk about the transfer portal and teams being completely new a lot, but this is one of those situations where it's the epitome of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the difference in this is the fact that they're bringing in, like you mentioned earlier, Billy Napier. And I think that the prestige alone of Billy Napier coming, let's just think about the narrative for a second. You have a guy who has always had success in this conference coming from Granted, you can call his experience at Florida whatever you want to call it.
A failure.
The
We'll,
experience,
we'll keep it a
yeah,
buck.
yeah. But the experience that he's bringing from Florida, you can't tell me that Billy Napier. First of all, I think that Billy Napier kind of had a little bit of handcuffs there. I don't think that it
Nah, I
was.
can't give you that because he was calling plays and everything. I can't do that. That
Yeah,
was
I
my
mean, well,
guy, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do it.
I mean, you're right. You're right. I just try to throw him a bone. You're right.
Yeah, I can't do it, bro.
You're
I'm
definitely
sorry.
right.
He would not relinquish. Hey, no
The
matter how many
DJ
times
Lagway
people, yeah,
experiment did not work for sure.
and no
For
matter how many
sure.
times people told him to let your OC call play, he would not relinquish play calling.
Yeah. But there's a lot of coaches like that though. So I definitely get it. But anyway, the point is that I think that he has more in his bag coming back to the Sun Belt than he did when he left. You know what I mean? I think when a coach at Florida and you're coaching at the SEC level, there are things that I think also distract from the play calling that he probably couldn't focus on as much at that program. So coming to JMU where things seem to be less volatile, there's a clear path, I think, of what the expectations are of the team and kind of like more realistic rather than Florida at the moment. So I think all he has to do is just go in there, just focus on ball, man. Like he don't have to prove anything like he did at Florida. He doesn't have to convince anybody that he's anybody other than who he is or who he is shown. Now, if he doesn't, if he doesn't have a good season this year
Oh, it's over.
or a good tenure here, yeah, I don't think he's going to get a head coaching job again, or at least not for a while. But I am excited to see what's going to happen. I'm excited to see him bring in that, that Napier style of physical football and just see what he can do and see if he can get back to the top of the Sun Belt.
Yeah,
But I
I
do think they'll
agree.
be contenders at the very least.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to foreshadow anything, but I agree. I think Billy Napier is returning to a conference where he's definitely prestigious. While, like you said, in Florida, he had to prove to people who he was, and ultimately it was a failure because I mean, you had one good year where Graham Mertz and
Yeah.
DJ were it was really Graham Mertz that year, can't lie, but and then you win the
Mhm.
Gasparilla Bowl because Darian Mensah sprints off to Duke immediately after the Tulane year, so they don't have a quarterback, and you just beat the mess out of Tulane. So definitely not a great success in at Florida. And I mean, although I love Billy Napier as a head coach, I despise Florida, so I'm cool with it. But anyway, let's get into the three returners, well, two, because one of them, like I said, is a lineman. They bring back Amar Thomas, a linebacker who had 43 total tackles, 13 solos, and 2.5 sacks, and Gannon Weathersby, a linebacker who had 54 total tackles, 15 solos, a sack, 3 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 scoop and score touchdown. Now they lost a lot, like you said. They lost Alonzo Barnett, quarterback, went to UCF, who I suspect should win that starting quarterback job. 216 to 370, 58.4% completion percentage, 2,806 yards, 23 touchdowns, 8 picks, 127 carries, 589 yards, and 15 rushing touchdowns. Wayne Knight went to UCLA with Coach Chesney, so salute to him. Running back with 207 carries, 1,373 yards, 6.6 a carry, and 9 touchdowns with 40 catches, 397 yards, and a touchdown. Landon Ellis, a receiver who also went to UCLA, 36 catches, 624 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Nick DeGrano, who I believe scored the game-winning touchdown against the Eagles last night for the Patriots. 28 catches, 500 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Lakota Dupree, who went to Florida, a tight end who had 17 catches, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Trent Hendrick, a linebacker who had 106 total tackles, 39 solos, 3 sacks, 3 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. Tyler Brown, a defensive back who went to Iowa, who had transferred to Iowa, 80 total tackles, 40 solos, a sack, 6 pass breakups, and a pick. Jacob Thomas, who had a big hit against the Ravens yesterday in the preseason game. On the Vikings, a safety who had 71 total tackles, 35 solos, 2 sacks, 7 pass breakups, 2 picks, and a forced fumble. Drew Spenghetti is a linebacker who transferred to UCLA. 54 total tackles, 18 solos, a sack, 3 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and a scoop and score touchdown. Sahir West, a D lineman who also transferred to UCLA. 45 total tackles, 16 solos, 7 sacks, 4 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Elijah Cope, a cornerback on the Cardinals, 46 total tackles, 28 solos, 7 pass breakups, and a pick. Derek Barksdale, a defensive back who transferred to UCLA, 36 total tackles, 22 solos, 12 pass breakups, and 2 picks. and Justin Eaglin, a defensive back who transferred to Colorado, who had 35 total tackles, 22 solos, 8 pass breakups, 5 picks, and a touchdown. Anybody you want to talk about before we move on to transfers?
No, sir.
All right, so they had the 75th overall recruiting class, which is really good for a group of 5 school. 61st in transfers, which is superb for a group of 5 school. But they had 41 transfers. And to the knowledge that I've done, that is the most in the group of 5 schools that I'm talking about. But he had a ton of transfers. Some that I have written down is Javis Myatt, a safety from Texas State, who had 32 tackles, 16 solos, a sack, 4 fumble, and a fumble recovery. Jeremiah Harrison, a receiver that the OC is bringing over from Eastern Tennessee, who had 38 catches, 652 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He brings over his tight end as well, Cole Keller, 22 catches, 226 yards, and 2 touchdowns for East Tennessee. Nakeem Jackson, a linebacker from Nevada, who had 53 total tackles, 23 solos, a pick, and a pick 6. DJ Kelly, a cornerback from Toledo, 10 tackles, 6 solos, a pass breakup, a pick, and a sack. And Keytron Simpson, edge from Lamar, who had 47 total tackles, 6 solos, and 2.5 sacks. Any transfer portal you wanted to talk about?
I believe Camden Coleman, the quarterback from the FCS level. I think he has the chance of winning the starting job. I'm not sure exactly if they've chosen the starter yet, but I saw a couple of highlights on him from Twitter. I don't know how I saw it randomly, but I know he comes from a place where it seems like there's some passive production. He has a bit of mobility.
It's
So
from
I think
Richmond.
that'll Richmond.
Richmond Spiders.
Yeah. I think and within the state, it's probably going to be a comfortable transition for him. Maybe he can win the starting spot. But other than that, that's about it. I know this team is full of transfers in certain spots, but I just kind of, to be honest, my thing with this team is pretty much just off the prestige of the program, the prestige of the coach. I think that they're just going to be pretty good.
Much. Pretty much.
I don't really know too many of the players, but I'm pretty confident that they'll have a decent season to be in contention.
Yeah, pretty much. And George Pettaway is also back at running back.
Yeah,
so
from injury, right?
I don't remember if he got hurt or no. If just Wayne Knight just was that good that George Pettaway just got limited carries. I don't remember.
Because he had a pretty good season that year before.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't remember him being hurt. I just think Wayne Knight was just that good. But George Pettaway is going to be, a guy who has that culture. Is going to help instill the culture, the JMU culture within the new guys from the transfer portal, things like that. Starting quarterback, I trust Billy Napier to name the right guy at QB, and I trust his OC, who had a ton of success at the FCS level. So, yeah, I'm pretty much, like you said, trusting the coaching staff, trusting the prestige of the program in this short 3-4 year time span for them to be good. Without further ado, I got some numbers, but y'all can take it with a grain of salt because there's a new coaching staff. But there was 16th in total offense, 5th in total defense, 9th in scoring offense, 13th in scoring defense, 86th in passing, 19th in pass defense, 6th in rushing, 5th in rush defense, 19th in third down conversion percentage on offense, 6th in third down conversion percentage on defense, tied 45th in red zone offense, and tied 86th in red zone defense. But Ace, let's get into the schedule. Now, I'm going to do this real quick, Ace. I have them winning every game except for at San Diego State.
Oh, okay. All right. I have them.
If you need me to, I'm still going to go over the schedule. So if you want, we can do it.
You don't have to if you want, but I had them. I had them with 3 losses.
All right. So
I had them with 3 losses, then they're all back to back.
Okay. I don't know what the stretch is. Maybe I might can figure the stretch out. But first game is at home against Liberty.
I'm sure you could.
That's the W. That's the, yeah. I'm about to say from the Liberty program. Yep. The next game is at home against Wagner. I need to say because I'm about to say name 9. So at San Diego State, I think this starts off the 3-game losing streak for you, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, I knew this was the stretch.
It does.
Then at Old Dominion, I have it as a W. You have it as a L.
It's a loss. It's just a nasty little game, nasty little rivalry.
That is a nice game, though. I can't lie because we both like Old Dominion and JMU. But Old Dominion lost Colton Joseph. Colton Joseph went to Wisconsin.
Well, really, it's just the home field, man. I think the home field thing is going to be a thing. Maybe it's still early for them, still figuring some things out,
Yeah, I think it's going
to be. Now, the next one is probably a surprise.
Yeah, I am surprised at this one. At home against Marshall.
I think not to spoil anything going forward, but I like Marshall. I always I think it's a personal thing because I've always had an affinity for them for some reason. Like I played dynasties with them at times, or whatnot.
Raheem Cato for me, bro. Back in the day,
Yeah,
Raheem Cato.
so it didn't just above all Randy Moss, Brian Leffers,
Yeah,
Brian
obviously
Leffers. You know
that.
what I mean? But
But yeah,
I think Marshall gets a statement win on the road to announce themselves
back.
as
They back.
somebody to contend with this year.
Yeah, they're
But
back.
I have them winning every other game.
Yeah, so I'm gonna finish the schedule because as you know that we both have them winning the rest of it. At Georgia Southern, with shout out my boy that Ace said should be selling insurance, Max Johnson. Quarterback in Georgia Southern this year. Georgia State
1000%.
at App State, at home against Troy, on the road against Southern Miss, which Blake Anderson is now the coach of Southern Miss. On the road against UConn, which now Jason Candu, long time Toledo head coach, is now head coach of UConn, and at home against Coastal Carolina. Those are all wins for me at Ace. So I have JMU finishing 11-1, 8-0 in conference, taking the over 8.5. Ace, what do you have them?
I have them at what's that? 9-3.
9-3, 6-2, taking the over 8.5 as well. And for those that y'all obviously don't know, this is my Sun Belt Conference champion right here. I am picking JMU to go back to back and win the Sun Belt this year. And I think the prestige of Billy Napier. I think he was in the Sun Belt for like 4 years at Louisiana, and 2 of those 4 he won it. JMU is in a great space right now with Chesney and Signetti, how they left it. This is my champion in the Sun Belt. But without further ado, I have to take the mic back because it is my turn. And I am here to talk about the UTSA Meeps, the Road Runners. I picked them last year. And I will say I was kind of disappointed. Offensively, they were okay-ish. They were good at times. Sometimes Owen McCown, I don't know what the heck he was thinking. But defensively was horrible for UTSA. My Lord, were they bad defensively. And I need them to get it. I need to get turned around. But UTSA does have a new OC, and that is Rick Bowie, coming over from Western Kentucky last year, where he was the OC at there. I like Rick Bowie's offense that he ran with Maverick McAvoy, who was the quarterback until Rodney Tisdale kind of took over for some time. Then they went back to Maverick McAvoy in the bowl game and ended up winning it. I know Maverick McAvoy actually got hurt, which led to Tisdale playing. But then he came back and Tisdale was still playing. And then in the bowl game, it's like, all right, this offense with Tisdale ain't going to work. And went back to Maverick and got the dub. But I like Rick Bowie as the OC from last year. I think he's going to help Owen McCown tremendously. I think he's going to get him some nice in-rhythm throws. I think the offense is going to be very dangerous under Rick Bowie. So that was a big pickup. I wish they'd have got a new DC because the defense, oh my Lord. But UTSA is coming off a 6-6 4 season where they did beat the mess out of FIU in the First Responder Bowl 57-20. Beat the mess out of FIU. They returned 8 starters, 6 of them on offense. A bunch of turnovers with only 2 defensive starters returning, which is a great thing for the UTSA program. They returned 3 O-linemen, but namely they returned Owen McCown, which I believe this is his final year in collegiate football, where he had 277 of 410, 67.6% completion percentage, 2,995 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. They returned David Amador, a receiver who had 45 catches for 443 yards and 4 touchdowns. AJ Wilson, a receiver who had 31 catches, 528 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Owen Pee-wee, a linebacker who had 31 total tackles, 16 solos, and a pass breakup. And Ty Leonard, a defensive lineman who had 16 total tackles and 9 solos. But real quick, until I get into the games where they lost, I just remember the Texas State game. And while I think Texas State offense is really explosive, Brad Jackson, Chris Dawn Jr., Lincoln Parry, and Bo Sparks, they just could not get a stop for nothing against Texas State last year. And that's what ultimately hurt them. Then I think to UTSA, what was it? It was a game I felt like they shouldn't have lost, and they got like blown out. But I don't want to say it was too lame. Was it North Texas? I don't think it was North Texas either. Let me try to find the schedule from last year. Because I want to say it was a green team, but I don't want to say it was North Texas either. But it could have very well been North Texas. Man, I'm so mad I can't remember that game. But it was just pick after pick for Owen McCown that game, and it was just disgusting. Colorado State was a game they won, but it was super close. Felt like that game should not have been close. But then you turn around, beat teams like East Carolina, which that was a really good team. Probably had no business winning that one. They did beat Tulane 48-26. Oh, it was the North Texas game. They lost 55-17. Got spanked.
Yeesh.
But Owen McCown didn't have a pick in this game, unless they just not showing it. I'm trying to find a game where they were just turning the ball over like crazy. It was not this one, but they did get spanked in this game. What game was it? Or maybe I might be remembering the game from 2 years ago. But either way, UTSA, man. Oh, was it this Temple game right here? Because they lost to Temple. There's no way you should lose to Temple. This might be the game.
That's horrible.
2 interceptions. This might be the game I'm thinking about because they lost to Temple. So we'll just go with that. No reason why you should lose to Temple at UTSA last year, 27-21. But let's get into who they lost. So they lost a big piece of that offense. Devin McEwen, a receiver who transferred to Ohio State. Huge piece of that offense, but you can't really get mad. I mean, he's going on to supreme pastures. He had 65 catches, 726 yards, and 8 touchdowns. They lost Robert Henry Jr., who had a phenomenal year at running back. He's on trying to make the Commanders, who I believe fumbled against the Lions yesterday on the kick return. He had 151 carries, 1,045 yards, 6.9 a carry, and 9 touchdowns with 18 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also broke like 75, like 2 or more 75-yard touchdown runs last year. Boy, he's a baller. He was nice last year. Lost Patrick Overmeyer, a tight end in Houston, 27 catches, 344 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Houston Thomas, a tight end who transferred to Texas A&M, 34 catches, 347 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Shad Banks Jr., a linebacker who has 92 total tackles, 57 solos, 2 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, a touchdown, a pick. 3 interceptions, a pick 6, a forced fumble, 3 fumble recoveries, and a scoop and score touchdown. So he had both a pick 6 and a scoop and score touchdown on linebacker. Jimmy Wyrick, a safety who transferred to SMU, 62 total tackles, 42 solos, 8 pass breakups, an interception, forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. Tyron Milton, a safety who had 50 total tackles, 37 solos, 3 pass breakups, and 3 picks and a forced fumble. Kendrick Blackshire, a linebacker who had 49 total tackles, 31 solos, a sack, a pass breakup, a pick, and a pick 6. KK Meyer, a cornerback who transferred to Cincy, 25 total tackles, 18 solos, and 5 pass breakups. Davin Martin, a cornerback who transferred to Texas Tech, 26 total tackles, 22 solos, 2 pass breakups, and a pick. Kenny Ozuwalu, a D lineman who transferred to Oklahoma, 17 total tackles, 9 solos, 3 sacks, and a pass breakup. Chidera Otutu, a D lineman who transferred to Cincy, 28 total tackles, 11 solos, 2.5 sacks. And Nana Anyanwu, a DN who transferred to Virginia, 22 total tackles, 18 solos, 5 sacks, and a pass breakup. They had the 81st overall recruiting class, 106 in transfers, bringing in 22 transfers. Transfers I highlighted was Jeremiah Bailey, a D lineman from Eastern Kentucky, who had 48 total tackles, 20 solos, 2.5 sacks, and a fumble recovery. Nate Robinson Jr., a safety from Marist, who had 64 total tackles, 30 solos, 11 pass breakups, and 4 picks. Which I think this is the Nate Robinson son, but he is 6 feet, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna look it up one more time just to make sure. But yeah, I believe that is his son, which he is 6 feet. Which salute to him. They also brought in Brandon Hyde
Beating the
Jr.
genetics.
Huh?
Beating the genetics.
Man, what? For sure. They brought in Brandon Hyde Jr., who was at UTSA in 2024. Then he transferred to Cal, but the emergence of Kendrick Raphael didn't really get much burn at Cal. He had 93 carries, 495 yards, 5.3 carries, 8 touchdowns in 2024 at UTSA. So he's looking to come back and be the starter more than likely. Elijah Baldwin, an edge from UTEP, who had 25 total tackles, 11 solos, 3.5 sacks, and 4 pass breakups. They had the 28th overall, 28th total offense, 65th total defense, 14th scoring offense, tied 91st scoring defense, 44th in passing, 75th in pass defense, 53rd in rushing, 71st in rush defense, 69th in third down conversion percentage on offense, 29th in third down conversion percentage on defense, 29th in red zone offense, but 129th in red zone defense. On to the schedule, where game 1 they take on University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, which I do have them winning that at home. Then you got the battle of the 2-1-0, but this year is at Texas State. Last year they lost it at home. This year I think they take it on the road. Then they play at Texas, so they got the Texas Gauntlet to start. Now this is obviously a loss. They win this game, more of a problem for Texas than it is a great win for UTSA. Then they back home, but they take on Colorado State. Shout out Jim Moore Jr. Not that high on Colorado State this year. I do have this as a win. Another Texas game. They take on at Rice. I'm not too sure about Rice this year. I do have this as a win. Then they take on USF at home. Alex Golish is gone. Byron Brown is gone. Jeremiah Coger is gone. A whole new look for USF. I mean, in comes Brian Hartline for sure, and he can pretty sure bring in talent. Just don't know how it's going to look year one. So I do have this as a win. Then they take on Navy at home, which I think Navy's option attack is going to give UTSA some problems. So I do have this as a loss. Then at Tulane, which, yes, John Summerall is gone. In steps Will Hall, who's a defensive coach who got promoted within the program. Because I felt like Tulane will have more of a defensive identity, thing that kind of go against what UTSA is as an offensive team. Don't know what UTSA defense is going to look like. I do have this as a loss on the road against Tulane. But I have them finishing out the schedule with 4 wins at FAU. Again, another battle that should be fun to watch in Caden Villcamp and Owen McCown. I have them winning that against North Texas, which Neil Brown, yes, he's a defensive head coach, but I feel like North Texas, while they had a great year with Eric Morris because of how great they were offensively, don't know how I can see Neil Brown making them so good defensively in year one. So I do have them winning that. At UAB, yes, they have a new head coach. They have a bunch of turnover as well. I'm not sure about UAB. So I'm going to give them the win here. And then at Tulsa, at home against Tulsa, senior night, I'm going to give them the dub on senior night. So I have UTSA finishing 9-3, 6-2, taking the over 7.5 win total for the Meat Meats. I think they have the year that they were supposed to have last year. I don't have them winning the American. Some people might have that. They could possibly make a run to play in the American Athletic Conference Championship, however, though. But I'm going to pass the mic to my boy because speaking of, he's talking about South Florida.
Yeah, like you said, like the American is going to be a very interesting conference this year. I believe it's pretty wide open. There are at least maybe like 5, 6 teams who could be contenders or spoilers for each other, depending on where everybody lands in the end. Now, South Florida. South Florida is a interesting team that lost a lot, but obviously the main marquee for why we have interest in them is because Brian Hartline is officially the head coach. Who's Brian Hartline, you ask? An NFL veteran receiver who had an amazing career. One of those like Jordy Nelson before Jordy Nelson, like
amazing college career.
He had pretty good. He was pretty good in pros. He wasn't like he was a good receiver, bro. He wasn't the number one target every year, but he was good, bro. And he was technical, bro. Bro used to run routes crazy.
Sure. For sure.
He's a good receiver. He was somebody that he's a name you would know if you are our age, basically.
Anyway, oh no, I definitely agree with that.
So now, better coach, quite possibly, for sure.
I think that will for sure be the case.
Definitely the way he developed those guys in Ohio State, man. I mean, he was turning them out, man.
Crazy too.
The list is insane, and I am happy he left when Chris Henry got there because it's like, bro, we don't need anymore.
We don't need anymore. And left.
Right. He should have stayed, honestly, but that's neither here nor there. He wanted to be a coach to go be a coach, but because of that, I do think that he's going to bring a lot to this program. This program does lose a lot to Auburn because the head coach,
Alex
quarterback, et cetera, went over. And, power to them, and that's great for them. But it's also great for the ecosystem because it brings in new faces and new opportunities for a lot of these guys. So I want to talk about some of the transfers that came in. He didn't bring a lot of people from Ohio State with him, but he did bring one on each side of the ball. If I'm not mistaken, we have Bryson Rogers. He was a guy, he scored last year. I mean, he wasn't very much in the rotation, obviously, because of the talent pool that they had there, but a decently recruited guy. He's a redshirt junior. It's his time to shine, and I think he'll bring this offense something. Now, quarterback, they have Michael Van Buren coming in. Yes, from LSU. He's a guy who, when he had his opportunities, he played pretty decently. He wasn't like out of this world, but I think he is very capable. I think that he can show that I think versus that kind of competition, I think that he may take another step. So it's going to be exciting to see what he can do. And he's a guy I think went to St.
He's
Francis as
fast.
well.
He's
Yeah,
fast too. Like really
he is
fast.
pretty fast. I didn't know he was that fast.
Yeah, bro. I
Um,
remember him. I think he played against Houston. He was in the bowl game. They lost, but
mhm.
bro, I think he's gonna bring that Byron Brown feel to USF.
Well, they definitely need that, because this team already has speed, right? So if you add a speedy quarterback into the equation, I mean, the explosiveness is going to be out off the charts. Also bringing C.J. Hicks from Ohio State. This is the guy who's a DN. He didn't play a lot over his career. Not too many sacks. I think he only has 2 sacks, and those are from like 2 years ago. However, he played in the Texas game. I think it's just when you have so much talent on those teams and the depth is what it is, it's kind of hard for these guys to get on the field and show the totality of what they can do.
Hmm.
So I think he's a guy you should also be able to watch out for. As far as the defense, they are going to have to be, a lot better on third down because third down discipline was a tough thing for them last year. Even though I know staffs are different, somehow it seems like things like that kind of carry over at times. Um, but let's get into the schedule.
Yes, sir.
So we have them starting out at home versus Florida International. I had it as a win. I think it's going to be a good home and opener for them. I think they have the athletic edge against Florida International, so maybe they can win that. Going forward, what's funny?
Bro, I just realized why Pitbull named the stadium after himself at FIU because he calls
Wait,
himself
when did he
Mr.
do that?
That was like, this has to be at least, if not year 3, it has to be over. But it's because he calls himself Mr.
Yeah.
International and it's Florida International, bro. I just realized that. Oh gosh, I'm gonna
I
Google
was
to see if
wondering why
that's
you was
over.
chuckling like that. I'm like, what just
When
happened?
you said Florida International, I was like, it.
I didn't even know he named the stadium. Did he go there?
I don't think so.
All right,
I'm
man. We
looking it up
doing
right now to
anything.
see if it's over.
We doing anything now. All right, please come back with that tidbit. We'll move on
I
to the
got
Army.
you.
So we had them on the road versus the Army. I definitely think that's going to be a loss. I think on the road, facing that option, new team, it may not look great for them unless they just are super explosive and can ball out the gym. The next week we have Delaware coming in. Obviously, there's going to be a talent gap there. I think USF is going to get a win there. Next, we have them at Bowling Green. Tough road game. I think that they will come out with the win. I
Oh my
think again,
gosh.
athletically and speed wise, I think they can maybe overwhelm the. What are the Bowling Green again? I can't remember what their. It's like a penguin or something. I don't know.
Bowling
Anyway,
Green, I don't. Nah, I think it's like a War Falcon or something.
oh,
I know
I
Youngstown
gotta look
State
it
is
up
a
now.
penguin. I think Bowling Green's like a falcon. Yeah, I think there's a falcon.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
By the way, Pitbull FIU is called Pitbull Stadium until 2029, but there's an option to extend it another 5 years through 2034.
I'd be ashamed of them if they extend that.
They're going to extend it, bro. I think
Well, it's no draw. There's no draw. I
he paid
think,
6 million for that. By the way,
bro. If I had 6 million to spend, I probably would do it too. Just saying.
I don't know FIU. I might choose a better venue, but I mean, hey, it's in
Probably be
Miami.
more. Probably be more. I mean, look,
True too.
you
True
can't.
too.
If we were to go to Maryland, be like, hey, name it after us.
Oh no, that's right for the low. For the low, you might get that for
I think they
$5.99.
might. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, we'll have to get in line behind Stephon Diggs anyway. So it's fine. Okay, so next I have them playing Temple. Home game, a win. Not high on Temple. Not high on them at all. Next we have them at UTSA. The Alamo Bowl, the Alamo Dome is a very hard place for teams to play for some reason.
Hmm.
UTSA balls out of the gym when they play in the Alamo Dome, and I don't think this is going to be any different, especially on a short week for USF. So have a dub there. That'd be a dub as in the loss. A L.
Okay.
Next we have them playing Kent State. Kent State, yeah. Mm.
Oh, it's Mr.
So I have
Worldwide.
them,
My
Mister.
fault.
Oh,
It's not international. It's Mr. Worldwide, but same thing.
But either way, bro. Either way, if
And he
he
did not
spent
go
that
to
money on
FIU.
that, so spending money on that is crazy. Anyway, Kent State, I have that as a win for South Florida. Then I have them playing UAB, who I am not very high on either. USF's explosiveness is going to win again. Then I have them at East Carolina. Earlier I mentioned I had this as a 50-50 game. I think it's going to be tough, but I have them winning that game. Oh, wait, let me double check. Oh, I'm sorry.
Look, I get it, bro. Do you? Bro, you just want to make sure you even like,
Got some continuity on.
yeah. There you go. You just want to make sure
Where is it? East Carolina.
for sure. I don't know. I think UAB is gonna be okay, but like you said, I don't got no faith in them being teams like USF or UTSA or something like that. But I think they'll be okay. Alex Morrison did. Alex Morrison did pull off the upset against Memphis, his first ever interim head coaching game at UAB.
Okay, yes, I was right. I have them beating East Carolina.
Okay.
Sorry for that, folks.
No, you're good.
So next we have them playing Memphis, and I actually have them beating Memphis. I think the home game is going to help them. I think it might be a statement game for Brian Hartline in his first year to say, "Hey," well, not to say that, "Hey, we're here," because obviously this is later in the season, but just to say that my
We still can.
regime is
Yeah.
going to continue to have success.
Goal is left, but we're
Next,
still going to be successful here at USF.
absolutely. Then I had them at Florida Atlantic. Cross state game. I had them beating Florida Atlantic. I am not too familiar what they have or don't have, but I just think historically Florida Atlantic has been a great program. So I'm gonna have
Not
them
since Lane Train
winning.
left.
Yeah, that was that
Lane,
was that
that was
was
like
that was so
2018,
long ago
2019.
now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Lane actually got a conference title at FAU, if I'm not mistaken. Just shows how great of a coach Lane Kiffin is.
Yeah, he really is. He may be a narcissist, but that guy knows football.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we have them closing out the season playing Tulane. I think Tulane is the better team here. I think their steadiness will prevail as a program, and yeah. So, but despite that, I have them going 9-3. I think that they have a couple of stumbles across the year. They may not be the best team in the conference, but again, I think this conference is going to be one of those where there's a lot of hands in the jar.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you said one of your losses is like what UTSA, which I have them winning against USF as well. So I don't even think that's like a stumble. Um, I can't remember what your other losses were. I think you said that you had them beating ECU, which is a great win in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, who was the other two
at
losses?
ECU at that.
Yeah, that's a great win in my opinion.
I had them losing to Army, UTSA, and Tulane. So again, like
Yeah,
these are
that
programs
those are not
that,
even stumbles.
yeah,
I feel like I
yeah.
wanted. Okay, a little foreshadowing. Army's not on my 10, but Army was real
But Army
close.
is really good. Army's
Yeah,
really good.
Army was real close to being one of my 10, if not one of my 10, my AAC conference pick to win after winning not last year, but the year before last. And then Tulane, my whole kill with Tulane or my whole debacle with Tulane is just, can Will Hall continue what John Summerall and Willie Fritz have built at Tulane? So I don't think those are
Right.
stumbles at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think the floor for this team is probably like maybe seven wins is probably like the floor. Like they have
Hmm.
a pretty favorable schedule, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
if they drop East Carolina and Memphis, I don't think that people are going to think about this program any differently. It's going to be a fairly successful first year as long as they're a bowl team, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I think the bar can be set a little bit higher than just being a bowl team.
No, I respect it, and Golish is a big reason for that. And I think that even Brian Hartline bringing over a guy like Michael Van Buren at quarterback to come play for him shows just his recruiting ability. So I respect that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy who's familiar with what you have to do to win at the highest levels and do it consistently, right? You know what I mean? Like he had a big part in the reason why all of those wide receivers went to Ohio State, and I'm
Yeah.
sure his influence on that team extended far beyond just the running backs. I mean, this is the guy who's technically sound, who can. I think if you can teach technique well, that's something that translates throughout your whole football team.
For
Because when you
sure.
do technique well, you do a lot of other things. But if you do technique well, it means you're disciplined. It means that you are focused.
For sure.
You have the intangibles to be successful.
Yeah, and technique can overcome skill and speed and a lot of stuff. So
1,000%. Especially when you're playing mid-major conference games.
yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So I 100% agree with you there. But we both got the mic because it's time to talk about Western Michigan. We both picked Western
Yeah.
Michigan as one of our 10 schools. Um, and Western Michigan had a really good year. And by really good year, I mean they won the MAC conference championship last season. And that was a surprise to me. I know last year I picked Toledo. I felt like the MAC was open though, but they weren't one of my schools I had. I thought it was open between them, Ohio, and Miami of Ohio. Ultimately picked Toledo. And I want to say I had Ohio as like a close second, but Ohio, I believe, dropped some games that they shouldn't have. But anyway, won the MAC conference championship, had a 8-4 season, before the MAC championship win, 7-1 in conference, absolutely dominated the conference, won the MAC championship 23-17 versus Miami of Ohio, with a really good defense. And then they won the Myrtle Beach Bowl, beat the mess out of Kennesaw State 41-6, which I saw coming. Um, they did lose their defensive coordinator, which is huge. They lost Chris O'Leary to the NFL. That's how great that defense was. That the Chargers called up Western Michigan and said, "Hey, Chris O'Leary, how would you like to be an NFL defensive coordinator? I saw what you did at Western Michigan with
Come
that
on.
defense. Hey, we lost our DC Jesse Minter to the Ravens, but we think
Boo.
you'll be we think you'll be a great replacement." And in steps Greer Martini, who was promoted from linebackers coach last year to the defensive coordinator role this year for Western Michigan, looking to continue the success of Chris O'Leary. But they returned 11 starters, 7 on offense, 3 on linemen, and 4 on defense. But that Western Michigan defense was no joke. It's been times where last year that Western Michigan couldn't get nothing done, i.e., I want to say the Central Michigan game, and that defense just kept them in it. And then eventually the run game, because you got Brock Lowry, who's a run threat. He's really basically just a run threat
Really?
at quarterback.
Yeah,
And
pretty
then
much.
Jalen Buckley at running back. So eventually you're going to pop some big runs.
Basically 2,000 yards
Yeah.
between the two. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
So you're going to eventually pop some runs with those two guys. So the defense had to hold on to the offense, could finally get something moving through the ground, and it worked out. So talk to me a little bit about Western Michigan.
yeah, and I think you brought it up right there. Lowry and his legs, man, and also the continuity that they bring back as a whole. This now. First of all, we have to say no team has repeated as MAC champions in a
Oh, I was
very
going to
long
bring it up.
time.
I was going to bring it
So
up.
so so there are history suggests that it may not be on Western Michigan's side. However, I just love the physicality.
Hold on. You moving a little fast.
No,
You moving a
no,
little
no, no,
fast,
no, I'm
Jason.
not. I just meant not on their side, as in just
Okay.
having the same season that they did last year. Is what I mean. I'm not saying that they're my champion or anything like that.
Okay.
But
Cool.
but the way that this team is physical, the way that they control the ball, like the defense, even though that is a big question, will the defense be as effective as it was?
With the
But
new DC.
this team, like you said earlier, they play NFL ball, man. Like it's very refreshing to see, and it may not be the most exciting, but on a Tuesday night, I just like to see some teams just in the
Duke it out.
mud,
Yeah.
duking it out, blow for blow. Let's just see what you can do, man. And I think if you watched this team last year and seen how gritty they are at times, and seeing how they have just turned it around and just straight controlled games. I mean, they've had the ball for 30 minutes some games, like it's
Mm-hmm.
been kind of crazy to see what they did. And they had a ton of sacks. It was an exciting team
Nadami
to watch.
Tucker.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. And obviously the concern is like downfield passing and as for
For
mentioned,
sure.
the defensive reload. But I think that this team still has a lot coming, and I think they can. I don't think the drop off is going to be that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I do think they have some sort of recipe. Now, again, like we said, defensively is a question mark because you have a new DC. But I mean, offensively, it's kind of the same as last year. You do. I think they lost a lead receiver, if I'm not mistaken, in Talik Williams. But man, they again they've relied so much on the run game that I feel like they'll be fine. Um, yeah, you had games like even the Miami of Ohio game where they lost, they made up for it in a championship game.
Yeah.
The Ohio game, boy, was that a defensive battle until I mean it was a defensive battle throughout, but they was able to pull it off. But to your point about a MAC team not winning the championship in back-to-back years, it has not happened since 2011, 2012 when Northern Illinois did it. So that is the last time that a team has won the MAC in back-to-back years. So what is that, about 14 years? Going on
Wow.
15. So long time coming. Will it be broken? Will it remain? Who knows? But I do know that Western Michigan is looking to break that, and they feel like that they have the reloading or the retoolment to do so. Now, again, they bring back Brock Lowry, a quarterback who had 166 to 262, 63.4 completion percentage, 1,803 yards, 9 touchdowns to 3 picks. But he had 203 carries, 963 yards, and 14 touchdowns on the ground. So, like we both said, that man uses his legs. Jalen Buckley, which I can't lie, I looked at his numbers and I was like, I didn't feel like he ran for that many yards. I felt like they were kind of like not using Jalen Buckley as much, but he had 179 carries, 1,003 yards, 5.6 carry, and 9 touchdowns. Which again, he broke big runs to start the game against Miami of Ohio in the championship game and to start the second half. Both broke
Yeah.
60 plus runs for touchdowns in that game to basically win it against Miami of Ohio. Because beyond those two runs, the offense really couldn't get
I think the
maneuver.
thing is because like I think he just carries the ball more, honestly. I think he keeps it a lot more on those read options and things like that. So it could probably kind of skew how effective Buckley is at times, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I mean he averages 5.6 yards a carry last year. I mean,
Yeah,
it's he did have the longest rushing touchdown of the year, and almost the longest play of the year. So it's like he's effective. He's effective.
yeah.
He's
Oh, I love
efficient.
Jalen Buckley for sure.
And that's what you need when you have that running quarterback, very explosive running back duo. You need somebody
Mm-hmm.
to be efficient. You need somebody to be the one that you're scared of. You need
Yeah,
sneaky efficient and a home run hitter to be scared of. Like right.
yeah, and he showed that, like I said, in that MAC championship game, 100%. Um,
Yeah.
which I believe he should have won offensive MVP that game. I'll look it up in a second. But they returned Balin Brooks, a receiver who had 27 catches, 372 yards. Avion Chenault, a receiver who had 23 catches, 277 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jarverius Sims, a linebacker who had 64 total tackles, 32 solos, a sack, and 4 pass breakups. Micah Davis, a safety who had 60 total tackles, 31 solos, 3 pass breakups, and a pick. Joshua Franklin, a defensive back who had 53 total tackles, 32 solos, a sack and a half, and 10 pass breakups. And Joey Pope, a safety who had 44 total tackles, 28 solos, half a sack, 2 pass breakups, 3 picks, and a pick six. Actually, let me check this real quick. That actually might be a cornerback, Javarius Sims. My handwriting is bad though, so I
Javarius
may
Sims is a cornerback. Yeah.
cornerback. Yep, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I'm like, dog, my handwriting is bad. I think he's a cornerback, but they lost Talik Williams, like I mentioned earlier, their leading receiver who had 35 catches, 478 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Blake Bosner, who was very effective for them, a tight end who had 26 catches, 245 yards, and a touchdown. The big name, like I said earlier, the Nadame Tucker, was the edge rusher who had 55 total tackles, 33 solos, 14 and a half sacks, a pass breakup, and 4 forced fumbles. Oddly enough, trying to make the Chargers following his DC, so salute to him. James Camden, a linebacker with 84 total tackles, 36 solos, 4 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery. Sefa Sepaya Jr., a linebacker who had 77 total tackles, 27 solos, a sack and a half, a pick, and a fumble recovery. Tate Hollick, a safety who had 67 total tackles, 34 solos, half a sack, 2 pass breakups, 3 picks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Kershawn Fisher, an edge who had 29 total tackles, 16 solos, 3 sacks, 2 pass breakups, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and a scuba score touchdown. Mustafi Al Garari, a defensive tackle who had 34 total tackles, 12 solos, and a pass breakup. And Rodney McGraw, D lineman who had 42 total tackles, 18 solos, 7 sacks, a pass breakup, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries, trying to make the Dolphins. Anybody want to talk about before we move on to the transfer portal?
Well, yeah, like you mentioned earlier, I think Javarius Sims coming back, Joshua Franklin, Micah
Oh, he's
Davis. I
coming
think
back.
those
Oh yeah,
guys.
that's right. He's coming back. I'm
Yeah,
tripping. Go
yeah. I
ahead.
think those guys are going to be very pivotal to this defense having success, right? Because they're going to be ones who have been there. Now they're going to have to be able to hold it down and get some coverage sacks for this new defensive line that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Because to replace that talent and all those sacks that they had last year, what was the sack total? Was it something crazy?
I
43
don't.
sacks from
I'm about
last
to say
year.
I don't remember, but I know Nadame had 14 and a half in them boys, and he led. I want to say he
Yeah,
led the
yeah.
group of five.
Yeah, 43 sacks last year. That's going to be tough to completely replace. But I think if that back seven, those linebackers, because they also return Dylan Moore and Dominic Moon, I think those guys are going to have to
Yeah.
step up and keep the same energy from last year
Mm-hmm.
in order to help the newcomers come in and they can have success. But I think it's possible, though. I think it's very possible.
Yeah, and by the way, Jalen Buckley did win MAC offensive MVP for the MAC championship, and Adame Tucker won defensive MVP for the MAC championship. But let's move on to the transfer portals, where they were 112th in overall recruiting class, 109th in transfers with 21. I have highlighted Dewan Eccles Jr. from Ball State, so a transfer within the conference. A DN who had 27 total tackles, 10 solos, 3 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. Corey Crump, a safety from Virginia Military Institute, who had 83 total tackles, 48 solos, 3 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Willard Farrell, a cornerback from Presbyterian, who had 26 total tackles, 19 solos, 3 pass breakups, and a pick. And Scoop Gardner, an edge rusher from LIU, who had 53 total tackles, 29 solos, 5 sacks, and a forced fumble. Any high transfers you want to talk about, Ace?
Yeah, I think Dewan Eccles is going to come in and be, a guy who can make an immediate impact. Coming off 3 sacks last year, I think he's has a chance to at least replace some of that juice that will be missing from last year. They also have Amid Tunkara coming from Ohio State, who didn't really get a lot of burn because as he's also only a redshirt sophomore, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe he can come in and bring some of that, some of the stuff that he learned from the Matt Patricia defense and bring it over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I believe he was also there with Jim Knowles. I gotta give my boy Jim Knowles a shout out. But
Indeed.
some numbers, which you could take the defensive ones with a grain of salt because again, the DC is now with the Chargers. But they were 101st in total offense, 17th in total defense, 86th in scoring offense, 9th in scoring defense, 129th in passing, 18th in pass defense, 16th in rushing, 34th in rush defense, 63rd in third down conversion percentage on offense, 12th in third down conversion percentage on defense, 123rd in red zone offense, and 13th in red zone defense. But Ace, you ready to get into the schedule?
Yes, sir.
Game one at Michigan. I have as a win. Nah, I have as a loss. I have a loss. I have a loss.
I
I have as a
was
loss.
about to say, damn, Bryce Underwood ain't Bryce Underthrow.
Oh, I never heard that one. I'm using it.
I saw it on Twitter.
Using it.
Yeah, I had that as a loss.
All right, then we move on to at home against Monmouth, which I have as a win.
That was the win.
All right, on the road against Rice again. I'm not really Rice. Last good Rice player I remember was Dean Connors and Luke McCaffrey at receiver. I have this as a win.
Man, that physical run game can travel, man. I have it as a win.
Yeah, and hopefully the defense is the same. But next,
Yeah.
at home against Boise State, I do have this as a loss.
Have as a loss, man. Boise State is the cream of the crop when it comes to the G6,
Yes,
five,
sir.
whatever.
G6, but I just try to get Pac-12 some respect because it's the resurrection. But at Buffalo to
Only
open
for
up
this year,
MAC play.
right?
Yeah, it's just for this year.
Okay, yeah. I say,
Uh,
we can't respect them too much. They got
yeah, nah,
they barely have a conference.
yeah, it's just this year. Next year, I announced the rules. I'll announce them at the end again, but I announced the rules for next year's group G6 episode. But at Buffalo to open up Maction, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
I've heard Buffalo is a team to look out for though, so I'm gonna definitely look out for Buffalo. But at home against Kent State, which shout out Kent State had 5 wins last year after going 0-12 the year before with Kenny Burns. I do have this as a win.
Yeah, shout out to Kent State, but they ain't winning this one.
Yep. And then on the road at Central Michigan, I had this as a loss at first. I changed it to a win. I have them beating Central Michigan.
I have them beating Central Michigan as well. I think they're a more complete team.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be another good game though. But we move on to at I just realized I wrote their record wrong on my paper. But at Toledo, which I have as an L.
I also have that as an L. I think it's going to be, their First loss. I mean, the first road loss. Oh, no, it's not their first road loss because they lost to Michigan,
Michigan.
right?
It's their first MAC road
But
loss.
first, yeah, first MAC loss. Yeah. Just a stumble on the road. I think, the MAC is unpredictable. Some
Very.
of these games that we're saying are, are wins could very easily be losses. Who knows?
Yeah, I remember. Shoot, last year Bowling Green came back and beat Toledo at home. So MAC is
Yeah.
definitely unpredictable. But we move on
Yeah.
to Bowling Green. Speaking of at home, I do have them taking this one. Eddie George has to figure it out at Bowling Green.
Yeah. Bounce back spot for Western Michigan. This is a W.
Yep. And then they on the road against Akron, which I do have as a win.
Also have that as a win, midweek road, but there's a talent edge for Western Michigan.
Yep. And then last two games are actually at home. First game is at home against Eastern Michigan. I know a lot of people are high on Noah Kim at Eastern Michigan. I do have this defense being effective against Noah Kim. I have this as a win.
The run game controls it. I have it as a win.
Yep. The last game of the year at home against Miami of Ohio. I think Miami of Ohio gets the regular season win again. I have this as a loss.
I went back and forth with this game,
I did
man. It's a
too.
rematch of a very good game from last year.
Both of them were good. The regular season and the
Yeah,
championship.
yeah. But I had them winning this one. I think that they're going to get their revenge. I think that I do think Miami of Ohio is going to be a good team this year. I think the conference comes down to those two teams in Toledo, to be honest. So whatever happens between those three is going to determine who is in the MAC championship.
Hey, look, I
But
remember
I
when I
have it as
said
a
it.
win. I have them beating Miami of Ohio.
I remember when I named my three teams in the MAC, and only one of them, it only came down to one of them. Western Michigan came out of nowhere. So you might have just gave a team out of nowhere
I
a
might have
shot.
just put the nail in the coffin
Yeah.
for mine.
But
Hopefully it's
my
not
final,
Western Michigan.
yeah, my final record is 8-4, 5-3 in conference, finishing over 7.5 by the hook.
Yeah, I have them going 9-3, 7-1 in the conference, and I have them going to the MAC championship, and I have them winning.
Oh,
So
my
I have
fault. I'm wrong. I have them 8-4, 6-2. 6-2 in conference. I had to correct
who's
myself.
your fourth? Who's your fourth? Oh, Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, so I have them losing to Michigan and Boise State non-con, and then Toledo and Miami of Ohio in conference. I said 8-4, 5-3. I meant 8-4, 6-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have them 9-3, 7-1. So Ace, would you like to announce what do you have Western Michigan as?
Yeah, I had them as the MAC champions, the first repeat since I was in high school or something like that. And yeah,
You and
I
I
think
both.
I think I think this is just I think it's just a good team. I think it's a good program. I think that it's hard to find good programs in the MAC sometimes, and it's hard to keep things together. And the fact that this team has so much coming back and the continuity, I think it's just going to be a good team. They may not be everybody's favorite, but I think they're a good dark horse for a G5 playoff spoiler or something like that, man. I think they're pretty cool.
I have them. I can say I can have them in the conference championship. They are not my MAC championship team pick. So be on the lookout for my MAC champion still, because it's not there yet.
Indeed.
Just be on the lookout for Ace's Sunbelt champ, because he has not announced that yet. But we move on to both of our American Athletic Conference champion, and that is the Navy Midshipmen, who had a really good year last year, 10-2, 7-1. It just unfortunately North Texas and Tulane were just better. North Texas and Tulane just had better years. It's
Way
insane to be
better.
7-1 in conference and not make your conference championship game. Just how the cookie crumble for the midshipmen. Good thing for the midshipmen, though, they do bring back 11 starters. They bring back 5 offensively, 4 of them being on the O-line, and 6 defensively. Now, I will say this. I know we're not talking about them, but Army was almost one of my picks for this because they brought back their entire O-line and Kate Helms. But how crazy would it be if we have an Army Navy American Athletic Conference Championship game?
that'd be epic, man. I'm not gonna
That
lie.
would be
That'd be one of the
insane.
ones where it's like, all right, yeah. Shout out to y'all.
Hey, but you
They,
know,
they need to make that happen.
I would love to see it happen. What I think they need to fix though is the Army Navy game being after the conference championship. I think that's after the conference championship. It was last year, which is insane.
That's ridiculous.
They need to fix that, because what if they play each other in the conference championship and then right after that have to play each other in the Army Navy game?
Yeah, like what are the stakes? Like what does it matter at that point?
I mean, like it's
You
like
just getting revenge if you lost? Like
yeah,
no,
like bro, I don't even care about this game. We won
no,
the conference championship. Like, do I
right?
got to win this game to stay alive for a spot in the playoff? It's
Ooh,
crazy. I don't know if they fixed it
that's
yet.
yeah, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough.
I'm gonna actually look that up real quick because I
That's
just
rough.
actually thought about that
I never thought about that. That's kind of crazy. Oof.
because it was last year. But again, luckily for Navy, they didn't. Well, not I don't want to say luckily. Sucks for Navy that they didn't make it, but I mean it worked out. No, the Army Navy game is main scheduled for the second Saturday in December, which is the week after conference championship games. That is crazy.
That seems like somebody dropped the ball there.
It is, and what it really seems like is we're not breaking tradition for nobody. I don't care. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
Being stubborn.
That's definitely the most likely. It's a good old boys club, college
Yeah,
football.
that is. They need to actually get over it and fix it. But they did beat the mess out of Cincinnati in the Liberty Bowl. So Navy actually had an 11-win season last year. So salute to the midshipmen on an extraordinary year last year. Unfortunately, didn't have a chance to play for the American Athletic Conference Championship game. But 11 wins is nothing to sneeze at, especially at the University of Navy. And one tidbit real quick before we talk about who they returned and who they lost. They actually have 0 transfers. Nobody in the portal. So, which I'm not shocked. I don't think people are lining up to, possibly.
I don't think they're trying to enlist.
Yeah, enlist. Exactly. So I'm not shocked there. But they do return Luke Hutchinson, a receiver who had 5 catches for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now you might be saying, Carl, they don't really throw the ball like that anyway. And you're right, they don't. But they haven't passed more often than in recent years at Navy. And he's not a starter, but I really like this guy a lot. And they returned Braxton Woodson, who's a major reason why I think that Navy could repeat the year that they had last year, losing Blake Horvath. He went 9 of 19 for 110 yards, only a 47.4 completion percentage, but he had 44 carries for 414 yards and 6 touchdowns. The man is explosive, and he's speedy, but he has like long strides. So him in open field is tough to like catch. So I think he's going to be really big for that option that Navy likes to run. They return Mark Anthony Parker, a linebacker who had 97 total tackles. Oh, my fault, Ace. I didn't even let you talk about Navy. Talk about Navy for me.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think the most interesting part of Navy, obviously, even though they lose Blake Horvath, Eli Heidenreich, Landon Robinson,
Alex
it's
Texas.
just thank you. The offense itself, Drew Cronick, he has modernized this option offense that has all these even more motions, these shotgun looks, these very just creative plays, man. And it's so funny watching teams try to defend it because the regular option is already a handful, But when this guy's giving you so many different looks and then they can play a little bit faster too at times, it's like, I don't know, man. It's very tough to change everything you do on a drop of a dime just to play this team every week or whoever's playing them every week. You know what I mean? I think that definitely like lends to how tough they are. Then you add in the service academy discipline, the toughness, the physicality that they bring to the stage. Now, as long as they can duplicate some of that explosiveness that they had last year, they may not need to have all of it, but just enough of it. I think this team can be pretty good.
Yeah, and like I said, with Braxton Woodson, excuse me, I think he will. But I want to say I saw Navy run like an option out of like I formation last year. Can't remember, but yeah. But I think those guys are big returnees, and Woodson and Hutchinson. You bring back Mark Anthony Parker, like I was saying before. I forgot to let my co-host today talk about Navy, who had 97 total tackles, 45 solos, 2 sacks, a pick, and a fumble recovery. Giuseppe Sessi, a safety who had 81 total tackles and 50 solos and a fumble recovery. Coleman Cawley, a linebacker who had 79 total tackles, 36 solos, 2 interceptions, a pick 6, 3 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Philip Hamilton, a cornerback who had 49 total tackles, 30 solos, 2 pass breakups, 3 picks, 2 forced fumbles. Job Grant, a linebacker with 33 total tackles, 16 solos, and a fumble recovery. And Griffin Willis, a D lineman who had 48 total tackles, 18 solos, 3 sacks, and a pass defense. Now they lost, like we talked about, Blake Horvath, quarterback who went 97 to 160, 60.6 completion percentage, 1,580 yards, 12 touchdowns and 6 picks. But he also had 224 carries, 1,200 yards, and 16 touchdowns on the ground. They lost Alex Texa, a running back with 158 carries, 902 yards, 5.7 a carry, 10 touchdowns, 13 catches, 125 yards on the touchdown. Eli Heinrich, a running back who had 77 carries, 499 yards, 6.5 a carry, 3 touchdowns, 51 catches, 941 yards, and 6 touchdowns, trying to make the Steelers. And I want to say Heinrich won the game against Army. I want to say he scored the game-winning touchdown. It was either him or Texas, but I want to say it was Heinrich. Brandon Chapman, a receiver who had 17 catches, 159 yards. Landon Robinson, who's trying to make the Bengals funny. He got a sack and a half already in the preseason, so salute to him. 64 total tackles, 31 solos, 6.5 sacks, and a fumble recovery. Luke Pierce, a linebacker with 78 total tackles, 33 solos, 30.5 sacks, 3 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. Justin Ross, a cornerback who had 32 total tackles, 18 solos, half a sack, 4 pass breakups, and a pick, trying to transfer to the University of Virginia. Jackson Campbell, a linebacker who had 44 total tackles, 21 solos, half a sack, pass breakup, 4 fumble, and a fumble recovery. And Julian Montomi, a defensive end who had 41 total tackles, 16 solos, 3.5 sacks, 3 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. Now, 24/7 Sports said they had the 145th overall recruiting class. I didn't know it was 145 colleges that classified, so I'm going to go with 24/7 Sports. If anybody wants to say something in my comments, go attack 24/7 Sports, not me. But obviously, with 0 transfers, they didn't have a transfer grade. So some numbers for Navy. Oh, which by the way, they did have a new defensive coordinator. I forgot to mention he was the safeties coach last year, which he still coaches, and he was the defensive pass game coordinator last year for Navy. So he got promoted in house. He's now the defense coordinator / safeties coach. So salute to Eric Lewis on getting promoted. But they were 33rd in total offense, 64th in total defense, 32nd in scoring offense, tied 69th in scoring defense, 131st in passing, 90th in pass defense, 1st in rushing, 54th in rush defense, 4th in third down conversion percentage on offense, tied 64th in third down percentage on defense, tied 33rd in red zone offense, 80th in red zone defense, and 15th on fourth down conversion percentage on offense, which I added in because Navy will go for it on 4th and short. Sometimes on 3rd and mediums, they'll even align to make it 4th and short to go for it. So wanted to throw that.
And it's kind of funny because now opponents are going for it against them a lot, and that was like kind of a bad thing for them last year because they weren't stopping enough of them.
But ready for the schedule, Ace?
Yes, sir.
Game 1 at home against Towson. I have that as a win.
Have that as a win.
On the road against FAU. You going here to lie, at least for me. I'm not having FAU just like Ace saying. I have this as a win.
Have it as a win.
Which is their American road opener. Then back on the road to UAB, which I do have this as a win.
Have it as a win as well.
Then 3rd time straight on the road for the Battle of the Commissioners Cup with Air Force and Army. I think it's a different name though when they play Air Force. I'll Google it while I'm talking, but I do have them beating Air Force.
Yeah, I have them beating Air Force as well. I think it's going to be a physical win. Probably a close game, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just a better team.
Yep.
Not to say that Air Force isn't going to be good this year either, because I think all the Service Academy teams are going to be good in their respective conferences. So
I think they're Air Force in the Mountain West, but Army and Navy's in the American. My father said the Commanders Cup, the Commander in Chief's Trophy is what it's called. That's the series that they're a part of. But yeah, I have that as a win. Then finally, home opener in the American against Tulsa, which I have as a win.
Have as a win.
On the road against UTSA. Again, I think that option gives UTSA trouble. I have it as a win.
I have it as a loss. I think it's gonna be a tough road spot for them. I think UTSA's athleticism. I think they can probably have a little bit more explosive plays. But again, definitely no cakewalk. But I have them getting their first loss.
And I will say I do see where you're coming from with UTSA winning because offensively, UTSA can give Navy a ton of problems with, like you said, the athleticism, Owen McCown dicing them up. I just think defensively, I need to see it from UTSA, and that leaves me worried a ton. But we move on to at home against North Texas, which I do have as a win. Again, if Eric Morris and the boys was here, probably had it as a loss. But Neil Brown's from
Yeah.
North Texas, I got it as a win.
Yeah, North Texas is going back to how they were a couple years ago. I think that was a flash in the pan. They got great people that are now gone, and Navy's going to go in there and get a win.
All right, we move on to the annual Notre Dame game. Notre Dame ain't gonna let this game go. Can't get rid of the teams we gonna easily beat. I have this as a loss.
Definitely a loss.
All right, then back at home against Temple, which I have as a win.
Have it a win.
Then at home against Memphis, I do have this as a loss.
Have is the win. I think again, I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm not too sure what Memphis is going to be, but I think they'll be competitive. But I think this is just maybe one of those games where they get them.
Yeah, I mean Memphis Navy games actually been kind of good of late. Memphis have been very
Yeah,
competitive.
last year's was pretty good. I remember that. I remember some explosive plays from that last year.
Even to the year when Memphis had Blake Watson, I want to say they might have lost. I'm trying to Google it right now, but or maybe Memphis might have won like late. But yeah, those games have been really good of late, to be honest with you. So those are games. Yeah, Navy won
Yeah,
last year.
they're
20.
always pretty high scoring. The year I'm thinking of was 2024. It was 56-44.
Yeah,
That
Navy
was the one that
won.
popped up in my mind. Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Navy.
Navy won the last two. Memphis won
Yep.
in 23.
I think
I
that's the
think that's
Blake
the
Watson
one
game I'm talking
you're
about.
talking
Yeah.
to. Yeah,
Yep. Before Navy went in the last two, Memphis won the last five. So, but yeah, I think Memphis wins the last, turns it around, gets win here.
yeah.
But last road game against Charlotte, Tim Albin, I think that's his name, Tim Albin, the former Ohio coach. Again, don't know why he left Ohio for Charlotte, but I have Navy winning.
I have Navy winning as well.
And the Army Navy game. For to me, that's going to be the battle for the winner takes the commander trophy, the commander in chief trophy. I have them beating Army.
I I have them losing the Army. I think Army is a little bit, maybe a little better than them. I don't know, but it's a coin flip to be honest between them. I like
Yeah,
Army though. I like what they bring back.
that game is always a coin flip. To be honest with you, but I mean, Navy won the last two commander in chief trophies, uh, and I think they hold it down to make it three straight.
I ain't mad at that.
All right, so my final record for Navy is 10-2, 7-1, taking the over 8.5 win total.
Yes, I have them at 10-3, 7-1.
Oh,
And wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but I also wait. Let me say this. I also have them going to the American Championship and winning. I have Navy as my American champion.
yeah,
So
we
the
both do. It's on the ticker.
yeah. Oh yeah, bet. So wait, the last man.
And I don't know why you have an extra game.
Oh, I
I,
think because I'm counting the championship game.
nah, yeah, we're not counting that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, 10, 9-2, 7-1.
Oh, hold on. Now you a game short. Army counts.
All right.
You just said 9-2.
Yeah, but I'm taking my
Nine
bad,
and
nine
three.
and three.
Army counts. Yeah,
Okay,
Army
9 and
counts.
3. Yeah, my bad. 9-3.
Yep, Army counts. So, with that being said, we're gonna move on to both of our Conference USA champs. Again, he gave me his team Saturday. It is what it is. But we're both taking Jack State to make, first of all, reach the Conference USA title game for 3 years straight. But this time winning it, making it 2 of the last 3 Conference USA titles. We both said backstage that we feel like Conference USA is wide open. I know I remember last year on this show by myself, I felt it was wide open. It was why I picked Western Kentucky to make the conference, to win it last year, because I was like, this is the time that Coach Helton needs to get it done. I almost called him his brother. So Coach Tyson Helton needs to get it done. I think the Clay is his brother, but anyway. And it unfortunately came down to a Western Kentucky Jack State game at the end of the year, and Western Kentucky lost. So they did not make it to play Kennesaw State, which I feel like they might have won that Kennesaw State game. But who knows? We don't know because they didn't make it. But Western Kentucky really good offensively. Defensively was a hindrance. We actually, I mean, I guess technically you could kind of say we know because they did play, funny enough, Kennesaw State in a bowl game, which inter-conference bowl games are rare. and they won 19-15 in the no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. My fault. My apologies. Um Looked at something and got my messages mixed up. My apologies. But Western Kentucky did they had a really good offense. But Jack State, who we were talking about, my apologies. I got so lost in what I was talking about that I forgot we were talking about Jack State winning Conference USA. They had an 8-4, 7-1 season, a really good Conference USA season. They actually beat Kennesaw State in the regular season before losing to Kennesaw State in the conference championship game 19-15. A game I felt like they should have won. I felt like they should have actually lost the regular season game. I want to say DeAndre Johnson made like some crazy play late to help them beat them in the regular season. And I felt like they should have won the conference championship game and they lost. So, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that Jack State would have loved to have been in the reverse order as well. But they do bring back Caden Creel, which is great for them because he was taking over for Tyler Huff, who left. Now they got a guy. They finally got a guy who's had some tenure under his belt at Jack State. I'm not necessarily worried about the running back situation. I know that they're supposed to be starting a guy from last year who didn't start but got some burn. But Jack State, yeah, Jack State churns out running back talent. I mean, Cam Cook wasn't looked at to be as good as he was when he came to Jack State, and now he was looked at one of the most coveted recruits at running back. I remember vividly watching TCU, and them saying they didn't have a running back on the roster with Cam Cook on state roster. So Jack State has done wonders for running back. Look at Trey Stewart the year previous to Cam Cook, went crazy. So I have no doubt that Jack State will find a running back to go crazy again. Defensively for Jack State, just they have talent. It just doesn't perform. Like they'll have guys get plucked out of there to go to Power 4 schools. Like I'm thinking of Larry Worth. I'm thinking of Fred Perry. Who is Hardy? Hardy, the DN. I can't remember his first name. I think was it Chris Hardy? But I know he's a DN for Jack State. Yeah, so they have had talent get plucked out of there to go Power 4, but if they could figure it out where the defense can be like super solid, they'll easily win the Conference USA. But talk to me a little bit about Jack State, Ace. Oh, by the way, my fault. They did win the Veterans Bowl 17-13 versus Troy. I have to announce that.
Yeah, I think Jack State is a pretty decent choice as the champions for the Conference USA. I know the transition from losing Rich Rod and a lot of heavy transfers from a couple years ago was a lot, but they still came through. You know, Cam Cook was very efficient last year, very effective last year. I mean, it's going to be a lot to replace him, but like you said, they already have running backs on the roster. I think they're just going to do a running back by committee thing, and I think that's probably going to work well with them because, like you said, they're still bringing Creel back, a guy who could run himself. This has always been a run-heavy offense, and I think that's going to continue to be that. They're very physical, which is always a key to winning games. DeAndre Johnson, very big wide receiver, big target. Yeah, they can just throw it up to him. Very good down the field threat. They also bring back a lot from their defense last year. So, like you said, the defense doesn't always play up to, I guess, its ceiling, but they can be pretty good. And I think that, you know, as long as they can play decently and not and maybe produce some turnovers and everything, and maybe some special teams can be a bit of an edge for this team this year. But I'm high on them. I think that they're going to be pretty good. I think they have everything that they need in order to be successful in this conference, as I think it's one of the weakest.
Oh, I think it's the weakest conference out of all conference. Man, yeah, I would even put the Pac-12 above it. To be honest with you, I think it's the weakest conference. Yeah,
I'm not mad at that.
I would go there. But yeah, man, I think they even lost Garrison Ripper, the kicker, who's been there for quite some time. So special teams, could be a thing. Yep.
No, Ripper's there.
Oh, he's still there?
Yeah, he's
well, that's really good then. Oh, that's really good. That them still having Garrison Ripper is really good because I mean I think he had some misses last 70%. Year.
Yeah, a few, but
yeah. I want to say the year they won the Conference USA. Excuse me. I want to say the year they
really only had one bad game.
Yeah.
Versus Delaware.
4 for 5 from 50 plus. So with the longest 52. Last year he had a longer 51. He was 1 of 1, and then 8 of 10 from 40 to 49. So he's been a solid
That's
contributor
decent.
kicker for them there. Again, I think he had a big kick to propel them to the Conference USA Championship 2 years ago when they won it. So him being there is really big. They returned 3 starters on offense, 1 lineman, 5 on defense. So a lot of turnover for this Jack State team. Returning only 8 starters. Again, Caden Creel at quarterback, who won 130 of 211, 61.6% completion percentage, 1,514 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4 picks, 182 carries, 1,075 yards, and 7 touchdowns. DeAndre Johnson, who Ace brought up earlier, 6'8" guy who had 30 catches for 724 yards and 6 touchdowns. He caught like a big Hail Mary against Kennesaw State in the regular season. Max Saunders, a linebacker who had 85 total tackles, 46 solos, a sack and a half, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Walker Osteen, a linebacker who had 84 total tackles, 51 solos, 2.5 sacks, a pass breakup, 3 picks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Caleb Nix, a defensive back who had 63 total tackles, 38 solos, 3 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, a pick six, 3 fumble recoveries, and a scoop and score touchdown. Traquan Fagans, a cornerback who had 36 total tackles, 27 solos, 9 pass breakups, and a pick. And Jawan Campbell, a D lineman who had 22 total tackles and 10 solos. Now, they did lose, as we mentioned, Cam Cook, who transferred to be with Rich Rod at West Virginia, a running back who had 295 carries, 1,659 yards, 5.6 a carry, and 16 touchdowns. Brock Recksteiner, who I believe is the son of Scott Steiner. He was a receiver who had 36 catches, 383 yards, and 5 touchdowns, currently trying to make the Saints. Pearson Baldwin, a tight end who had 26 catches, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns. Trevor Woods, a safety who had 64 total tackles, 51 solos, 4 pass breakups, a pick, and 3 forced fumbles. Taylor Carter, a D lineman who had 57 total tackles, 28 solos, a sack and a half, and 2 pass breakups. And like I said, he got plucked and went to Vandy. So, again, another Jack State player going to Power 4 Conference. Tyron Taylor, linebacker who had 31 total tackles, 20 solos, 4 pass breakups, and a pick. Emmanuel Oyebadejo, D lineman who transferred to Florida, 41 total tackles, 27 solos, 4.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And Garin Stansbury, a DN who had 23 total tackles, 15 solos, a sack, and a pass breakup. Ace, let's get into this transfer portal where they were 89th in overall recruiting, 103rd in transfers with 21 transfers incoming, 8 of them being O-linemen. So they going to have their pick of the litter to try to figure out this O-line. One that I really like was Ronell Johnson, a receiver from Mo State, who had 35 catches, 463 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to be very solid matched up with DeAndre Johnson. Marquise Hood, a D lineman from North Carolina A&T, who had 43 total tackles, 28 solos, 7.5 sacks, and 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. And Darius Cannon, a receiver who had 76 catches, 726 yards, and 3 touchdowns, also from North Carolina A&T. Any transfers you wanted to talk about?
No, sir. You pretty much got it. I was just going to talk about Darius Cannon and Ronell Johnson. I think they both could come in and have some impact on that team.
Yes, sir. So without further ado, some numbers. Shout out, by the way, I forgot to announce that they do have a new OC, offensive coordinator, Taylor Housewright, who got promoted from the tight ends coach last year. So in-house promotion again. So salute to him for that. And some numbers. They were 41st in total offense, 74th in total defense, 61st in scoring offense, 71st in scoring defense, 120th in passing, 95th in pass defense, 5th in rushing, 63rd in rush defense, 76th in third down conversion percentage on offense, 44th on third down conversion percentage on defense, 69th in red zone offense, and 39th in red zone defense. But Ace, let's get into the schedule where first game of the year should be a good one at North Dakota State, but I do have this as a loss.
I have it as a loss as well, man. I think just a tough game on the road, physical team. Their first game in the FBS, just might be a little bit too much.
It's funny. Jack State won their first game in the FBS. Now, what was that against? It was 3 years ago now. Who was that against? Was it UTEP?
Not sure.
I think it was UTEP.
I could look it up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I want to say it was against UTEP. Who was the quarterback for that? Oh man, because that wasn't Trey Stewart yet.
Yep, it was UTEP.
Yep, I'm about to say I think it was UTEP.
It was UTEP. Zion Webb.
Zion Webb. Oh Lord, Zion Webb. But we move on to Eastern Kentucky
Yeah,
at home.
that's when they were going back and forth between them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. Or he got hurt, something like that.
They were changing quarterbacks. I think that was
Yeah,
like by design. But yeah, Eastern Kentucky's next at home. I do have this as a win.
Evans a win as well.
Yep. And after that, they are on the road against Ohio University. Ohio is going through another coaching change due to some inappropriate coaching off the field things. I do have this as a win.
Yeah, I have it as a win as well. I think on the road at the MAC at a MAC team, I think it may be tough, but like you said, new coach. I think Jack State can play pretty physically in that travel as well.
Yeah, and I think Parker Navarro is no longer there, and I think Senior Ben Regura is also gone. So and I know Chase Hendricks is gone. I know a lot of that production on offense is gone. So very, very interested to see how Ohio looks this year. But we move on to at home against Georgia Southern. Sorry, I got this as a loss.
I have it as a loss as well. I think Georgia
Okay.
Southern is. I think they do the same thing. You know what I mean? As far as like how they run and everything, but I just like their program a little bit better to be honest, and
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with on the field.
I think it's gonna be a little different this year because I don't think Max Johnson gonna do too much running. But um,
Yeah.
I think, I'm rolling with Georgia Southern. I do think Georgia Southern is kind of like a sneaky program though. Um, but we move
Oh,
on
I
to,
forgot Mac Johnson was there.
yeah, man, come on, man. Man, my man
Can I
last year ball out.
can I change it?
I mean, you can.
I want to change it. I want to change it. I want to change it. It's a win. It's a win.
You seriously changing it? You can change it on
I'm
here.
serious. I'm serious. I'm serious.
That's messed up, bro. You doing my dog so dirty.
I don't care, man. I don't care.
My man really changed it just because, Max Johnson there. Oh, he's a win. That's
I'm a
crazy.
hater.
Well, we can see. We'll move forward. At
At least I'm
home,
consistent.
I respect it. Hey man, I got quarrels with some guys too, so I respect it. At home against Middle Tennessee State, which is their Conference USA on home opener, excuse me, I do have this as a win.
I have it as a win as well.
Then on the road in a rematch of the Conference USA Championship last year at Kennesaw State, I have this as a win.
I have it as a win.
Then back home against FIU, I do have this as a win.
I have this as a win as well.
On the road against New Mexico State, I have as a win.
I have this as a win.
Back home against Sam Houston, I have this as a win.
I also have this as a win.
On the road against Western Kentucky, I have this as a loss.
I have it as a loss as well. I think Western Kentucky is just a little, at home as well. I think it's just one of those things.
Yep. Then at home, senior night against Missouri State, I have this as a win.
I have it as a win as well.
And their last game of the year at Delaware, I have this as a win.
I have it as a loss. I think it's going to be a little tricky game on the at the end of the season, but I don't think it stops them from getting to the championship.
I just think that, I think that Delaware defense is in for some trouble if they not improved with this run game and Caden Creel and whoever's at running back at the time. I'm gonna roll with Jack State to finish 9-3, 7-1, taking the over 7.5 win total.
Yeah, and ironically, I have the same record now.
Wait, how?
9-3. I have them losing North Dakota State,
Oh, that's
Ohio,
right.
and then Delaware.
You had them losing Ohio? I thought you had them winning.
No, I'm sorry. Western Kentucky and Delaware.
Okay, yeah, okay. Because I have a loss against Georgia Southern, and you hate it, so you switched it. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
So you have them 9-3. You have them 9-3, 6-2 then. Because you got Western Kentucky and Delaware. Those are two conference losses.
Yeah, that actually might bump them out now that I'm looking at it.
Maybe.
Well, for all intents and purposes, they're still the champs.
Yeah, I mean, 2 losses might not knock you out because again,
maybe not in the Conference USA.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just.
I think it might have last year.
Over.
I'm not sure if Kennesaw State had more than 1 loss in conference play last year, but because Western Kentucky got knocked out with 2 losses. I'm
Yeah,
not,
I mean, when I'm looking at this conference, I think 2 losses is
but yeah,
fine.
you might be
Delaware,
fine.
Florida International, yeah.
Yeah, you might be fine, and that might have just been a rarity last year with Conference USA. But that is our Conference USA champ. Now, Ace, I have to take the mic dolo because your MAC
Indeed.
champion was announced, but mine wasn't, and it's now my turn for my MAC champion. And my MAC champion is the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. That's right. I have an old MAC championship rematch, but this time I got to go into Miami of Ohio. Now, you might be saying, Carl, why are you so high on Miami of Ohio? I think Thomas Guskowski gets another year under his belt. Henry Hessen is gone. Henry Hessen was terrible when he stepped in for Daquan Finn due to injury. And I think Thomas Guskowski showed some promise. I thought he showed some spark. Now he did have some nasty turnovers at times, but he was able to lead some drives as well. So I think Guskowski with another year of experience could be kind of dangerous. They came off a 7-5, 6-2 season last year. Again, losing in the MAC championship to Western Michigan, which was like one of the best teams in the conference defensively. They did lose the Arizona Bowl 18-3 to Fresno State, which Fresno State was no slouch last year at all, especially running the football. So that's not necessarily a bad loss. It's a bad loss in terms of only scoring 3 points, but I think the offense um will be better. Not necessarily. Well, yeah, will be better because I know they lose Cam Perry, which is a big loss. I do know that, and I know they lost Cole Weaver, another loss. But a year of continuity with straight Guskowski. You got some transfer portal players. I think they'll be fine. Um, Now they returned 9 starters, 5 on offense. 4 of them are O linemen. So again, that chemistry with the O line to be big. You lose your running back, but you got a running back coming in who I'll talk about later. And they bring back 4 defensive players or starters, which is cool to have a core of a foundation for your DC. Now you have Gus Ragland as your OC and Bill Burton as your DC, who's been there for quite some time. So again, with those continuity players, core players, I think they'll be fine. Now they do return Keith Reynolds, a receiver who had 36 catches, 352 yards, and a touchdown, so some production there. Defensively, they return Malcolm McCain, a linebacker with 73 total tackles, 30 solos, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Michael Yarborough, a defensive back with 47 total tackles, 38 solos, 4 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. Caleb Martin, a defensive back with 33 total tackles, 23 solos, and 7 pass breakups. And Roosevelt Andrews, the third, a D lineman who had 19 total tackles, 4 solos, a sack, and a fumble recovery. And again, Guskowski comes back as projected to be your starter for Miami of Ohio. Now they did lose Daquan Finn. Yes, he is finally out of the collegiate game. He's been in college for quite some time. Uh, he went 106 of 181, 58.6% completion percentage, 1,451 yards, 9 touchdowns and 6 picks, 89 carries, 395 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jordan Brunson, a running back who had 164 carries, 767 yards, 4.7 a carry and 4 touchdowns. Cam Perry, who transferred to Colorado, 43 catches, 976 yards and 6 touchdowns. Cole Weaver, a receiver who transferred to Syracuse, 45 catches, 642 yards and a touchdown. Eli Blakey, a safety who had 118 total tackles, 62 solos, a sack, 8 pass breakups, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Jackson Kuwach, a linebacker trying to make the Panthers, with 109 total tackles, 47 solos, 5 sacks, and a pass breakup. Corbin Hondrew, a linebacker who had 83 total tackles, 33 solos, a sack, 2 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, a pick six, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Adam Trick, who had 8.5 sacks and transferred to Texas Tech, 55 total tackles, 25 solos, 4 pass breakups, a pick, and 3 forced fumbles. Silas Walters, a safety trying to make the Ravens, who had 71 total tackles, 33 solos, a sack, 7 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions, who caught a pick yesterday against the Vikings in the preseason. He also gave up a bad deep ball. Got to work on ball skills a little bit, but great to see you in the game with a pick. Nasir Washington, a D lineman who had 17 total tackles, 8 solos, and 3.5 sacks. They had the 100 total overall recruiting class, 84th in transfers, bringing in 17 total transfers. One being Michael Coleman, a D lineman from Cincinnati, 33 total tackles, 10 solos, 2 sacks. Cade Yakameli, running back from Wisconsin, which I think will be real big in replacing Jordan Brunson. He had 38 carries for 128 yards, 3.4 carry. Going to have much more of a workload with Miami of Ohio. And I think him and Thomas Guskowski can do some work together. Not Gostkowski necessarily running the football, but I think Gostkowski with some play action and things like that, the Yakimelli will be really big for Miami of Ohio. Dylan Tatum, who originally was a Spartan, transferred to Northwestern. They had him listed as a cornerback. He was a safety at Michigan State, so I just listed him as a defensive back. While at Northwestern, though, he had 17 total tackles, 12 solos, and a pass breakup. I believe he got hurt at Northwestern, which is why he's eligible to play this year. Devin Hyatt, a receiver from Arizona, in 2024, he had 7 catches for 109 yards. So looking to have improve on that in the group of 5 or group of 6. And Blaine Myrick from South Alabama, a linebacker at 83 total tackles, 31 solos, 3 pass breakups. So some help on the linebacker front there. They were 106 in total offense, 36 in total defense, tied 93rd in scoring offense, 41st in scoring defense, 104th in passing, 39th in pass defense, 78th in rushing, 46th in rush defense, 109th in third down conversion percentage on offense, 101st in third down conversion percentage on defense, tied 52nd in red zone offense, and 55th in red zone defense. Again, when Daquan Finn went down, the offense tanked due to them trying. I think they tried the Henry Hesson experiment way too long, and Gostkowski, I think, was the better option. But with the schedule, game 1 at Pitt, I do have them losing. Pitt's just a better program. Game 2 at at home against Holy Cross, I have them winning. Game 3 is actually a neutral site game against Cincinnati. It's at the soccer field. I do have them losing, but last year's game was really good, and it was a low-scoring battle, and the under hit. Might be taking that again. Then game 4 against UConn, I have them losing. I have them losing 3 of their 4 non-conference games. UConn, Jason Candu has the familiarity, being the Toledo coach for so long. I think he's going to have a better talent pool to work with at UConn. UConn's actually been solid of late as well. So I do have UConn winning that game. But at home against Bowling Green, I do have them winning that one. Then I have them winning at UMass. UMass has been a terrible school of late. Then I have them winning at home against Akron, while Akron has been solid offensively. I do think Miami of Ohio is the anti-Akron in terms of play style. Game 4 in the MAC at Central Michigan, I do have this as a loss. I do think that this game could get dicey being at Central Michigan. If Miami of Ohio's offense don't come up to snuff, could get a little hectic, but I do think that it's a game they could also win. Then at home against Buffalo, I have as a win. At home for the Battle of the Bricks against Ohio, I do have them winning. I do have them winning on the road against Kent State, and I do have them winning to finish the season at Western Michigan, which I will say the Western Michigan and Central Michigan games could be interchangeable, where they beat Central Michigan and lose to Western Michigan on the road. But I have them finishing 8-4, 7-1 in conference, taking the over 7.5 win total, and winning the MAC against Western Michigan in the rematch for the MAC championship. Now, that was my MAC champion. Again, Aces is Western Michigan. We'll move on to our last agreed upon champion, which is UNLV taking the Mountain West finally after losing it for 3 straight years to Boise State. The Big Wolf.
Brother's gone.
Yeah, Big Bad Wolf is now gone. He's in the Pac-12, looking to start the Pac-12 how they ended the Mountain West with a championship, and UNLV can breathe a sigh of relief as they're trying to win their conference for probably the first time in a long time. I don't remember the last time has UNLV actually won the Mountain West.
I have no clue, honestly.
Yep, I'm looking it up right now. Ever won the Mountain West, because I don't remember them ever doing that. They yes, they've won it in men's basketball, so not in football. So nope, it'll be their first time ever. I'm about to say I don't remember them ever winning the Mountain West. So yeah, I was right. So they could win it for the first time ever. Now UNLV is a team that holds some good offenses. Defensively, however, man, and that's the reason why they can't beat Boise State. Excuse me. Because they can't stop the run.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Boise State just runs through them.
100%.
I mean, shout out my boy Jackson Woodard. That was probably the best defender that they had in quite some time. The linebacker from not last year, but 2 years ago. But that's why they lose to Boise State. They can't stop the run. And last year in the regular season,
They
You
don't
know,
just
my
lose.
dog.
The Boise State be beating them by like 20
Yeah,
sometimes.
well, it was respectable 2 years ago in the regular season. I think the championship it was like 28-7. But Calandria in the regular season threw a big pick six against Boise State to Marion McCoy, and that game
Hmm.
got blown open. So,
Yeah. And
but
that
the
was the
big
one.
guy,
Although they both were at Boise last year. Yeah.
mm, I can't remember. I think the conference championship was maybe it was at Boise State, and I think you're right. I think it
No,
was at
I
Boise
think they
State.
hosted. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
hosted.
I think you're right. But still, just couldn't get over the hump. But now you don't got to worry about it because the hump is gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit.
He's Matt Rule's problem now.
Well, no. Anthony Calandra ain't the hump. The hump is Boise State. He is the
Oh
starting
yeah,
quarterback
yeah,
though.
yeah. Yeah, you're right,
He
you're
is,
right.
he is the starting quarterback for Nebraska. Oh, got announced a couple days ago. So salute my boy
uh,
Calandria. My boy, your last year, man. Go do work. But Ace,
ball out, man.
talk to me a little bit about UNLV.
Yeah, I think UNLV is going is obviously an interesting team. I think yeah, with Boise State being gone, with San Diego State being gone, Fresno State, Colorado State, Utah State. I mean, it seems like this kind of league is kind of opened up for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are the ones who you think of as legitimately the most high power offense in this conference, even with Jackson Arnold coming in. Dan Mullen is just a great coach. You know, we trust Dan Mullen. We've seen what Dan Mullen can do with less. You know what I mean? And worst case scenario, Alex Orgy is still back there, and he has a little bit in
No,
him that he can.
let's
No,
not.
no,
Please.
I'm just saying. The run the game. I'm just saying he can probably help. He can make the run game even more explosive. As long as he's the game manager, they may not have to like uh, put up 40, 50 points every game if the defense is better than last year's, hopefully.
Yeah, please.
But
Let's not get to a point where Alex Orji in the game because that means we're cooked in terms of this preview.
yeah, probably so. Yeah, probably so. Probably so.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
either way though, I just like this team's identity. I think that they're always fun to watch. And even when you look back at last year, I mean, last year the games that they lost, they pretty much lost aside from New Mexico. But New Mexico is a respectable loss. I think that this team was going to pick up pretty much where they left off at.
let's not forget though, this team almost lost to Miami of Ohio because Anthony Calandri was out there low fin. They knocked Daquan Finn out the game, and that's how they won that game.
Mhm.
And it was Daquan fault. Finn fault why he got knocked out of the game, and when he got knocked out, he threw a pick six in the process of getting knocked out. But yeah, they went 10-2, 6-2 last year. Again, lost the Mountain West 38-21 to Boise State. Then lost the Frisco Bowl 17-10 to Ohio. In that game, Calandria again was low fin. But Ohio actually
Yeah,
had a really good defense
that might have
last
been one
year.
of his worst games. Huh? Low
Yeah,
key.
Ohio had a pretty solid defense last year, and Parker Navarro was kind of running through UNLV because again they can't stop the run.
Yeah.
But
Where's Justin Flo when you need him?
and he's still there, getting hype. Hey man, what remember that picture Alec Bowman had like seventh first day of school at Oklahoma State 3 years ago? That's
Yeah,
like Justin
Kim.
Flo.
Yeah, that's definitely him now.
Allen Bowman. I told people Allen Bowman. It was not him. It was Ollie Gordon in that backfield. But anyway, that's a different story for another day. They returned 7 starters, 3 on offense, 2 of them being on linemen, and 4 on defense. But the main starter that they returned is Jaden Thomas, the now junior running back, who's probably the best running back in this conference. To be honest with you, could have probably went power forward. I'm assuming some schools reached out, but
You
he decided
definitely could
to
have.
stay, yeah, but he decided to stay at UNLV. Had 148 carries, 1,036 yards, 7 to carry, and 12 touchdowns. He also had 39 catches for 237 yards and a touchdown. Returned Jake Pope, a safety who had 80 total tackles, 38 solos, 60 a sack and a half, 3 pass breakers, and a pick. Blessing Alualu Tuo Lamento, sorry, sir, linebacker, 61 total tackles, 27 solos, a pass breaker, and a forced fumble. LaTerrence Welsh, a defensive back, with 24 total tackles, 16 solos, 2 pass breakers, and 5 picks. And Lucas Conti, a D lineman with 22 total tackles, 10 solos, and 2.5 sacks. Now, they did lose my boy Calandria to Nebraska, as we talked about. 215 or 417. No, 275 or 417, excuse me. 65.9% completion percentage, 3,459 yards, 23 touchdowns and 9 picks, 127 carries, 649 yards, 10 touchdowns on the ground. Now, I will say the way he left UNLV was very distasteful telling Dan Mullen and the coaching staff that he experienced the transfer portal the year prior and doesn't want to experience that again, just to experience it again in Jets, Nebraska. So if you are a UNLV fan who dislikes Calandria for that, I can't even be mad at you because I completely understand why he basically lied. So I 100% feel you. They lost Jaden Bradley, who just made a crazy catch for the Commanders yesterday in the preseason game. A receiver had 58 catches for 931 yards and 4 touchdowns. Lost Troy O'Meara, a receiver to New Mexico. He had 31 catches, 514 yards, and 5 touchdowns. DeJuan Reynolds, a receiver who had 33 catches, 471 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Lost Verkees Gums, a tight end who had 11 catches, 168 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Marcel McDuffie, a linebacker who had 112 total tackles, 55 solos, 2 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 2 picks, and 3 fumble recoveries. Jaheim Joseph, a safety who had 80 total tackles, 38 solos, a sack and a half, 3 pass breakups, and a pick. Tumis Adelaide, a defensive lineman who transferred to Syracuse, 48 total tackles, 19 solos, 6 sacks, 3 pass breakups. Osi Agbasi, a D lineman who had 17 total tackles, 6 solos, and a sack. Amaris Brown, a defensive back who had 52 total tackles, 35 solos, 3.5 sacks, 7 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, and 2 pick sixes for the Lions, currently trying to make the Lions. Andrew Powdrill, a safety who transferred to West Virginia, had 63 total tackles, 41 solos, and 5 pass breakups. And Jalen Lee, a defensive lineman who had 33 total tackles, 6 solos, a sack, forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Now, before we move on to the transfer, I will say this. Dan Mullen is the reason why I did pick UNLV to win the conference championship last year. So, just speaking on to what you said about Dan Mullen being able to do more with less and believing in Dan Mullen, that is another reason why I picked them this year. But let's move on to the transfer portal, where they were 68th in overall recruiting class, which is really good for the group of 5, and 78th in transfers with 20 incoming transfer players. Obviously, like we talked about, Jackson Arnold from Auburn. Well, last year he was kind of like luster. He went 136 to 215, 63.3% completion percentage, 1,309 yards, 6 touchdowns to 2 picks, 112 carries, 311 yards, and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Taz Riddick, a receiver from Oregon State, 30 catches for 391 yards. Omarion Walker, a receiver from Middle Tennessee State, who had 15 catches, 201 yards, and a touchdown. Kyron Chambers, a cornerback from SMU, 30 total tackles, 19 solos, and 2 pass breakups. And Cam Santi, a linebacker from Holy Cross, who had 105 total tackles, 45 solos, 4.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups, and 5 forced fumbles. Anybody you want to highlight, Ace?
No, sir. You got to everybody. And to be honest, the only people that I really wanted to highlight was Jet Thomas and Jackson Arnold. I think everything's going to go through those 2 guys this year. And their success really hinges on them and the defense just being serviceable.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin Flo, which I don't even know, is he even going to start? He didn't even start last year. Is Justin Flo going to actually start?
I don't even think he's going to start. But he's a good social media guy. You know what I mean?
Hey, like, dog, you keep staying in college, but you're not even starting. Like, I mean, enjoy it while it lasts. We all miss the sport. Don't get me wrong.
This the last rodeo, so
yeah,
you're gonna have to.
Don't get me wrong. I definitely can see it, but
bro, the fall, I don't want to say the fall, but like,
no, it is the fall because he was
the expectations versus the reality was just
wasn't he like a 5-star linebacker when he went to Oregon?
Yeah, he was like the guy.
Yeah,
of the class.
Yeah.
I mean, if his high school highlight tape is any indication of what he could have been, like the difference is jarring.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see Bro ball like when he went to Arizona. Like, all right, can Bro ball out? And it's just been
don't happen for everybody though, man.
Yeah, very disappointing, but enjoy it, man. Some numbers for UNLV. We were 20th in total offense, 115th in total defense, 18th for scoring offense, 89th for scoring defense, 40th in passing, 110th in pass defense, 23rd in rushing, 103rd in rush defense, 28th in third down conversion percentage on offense, 17th in third down conversion percentage on defense, tied 39th in red zone offense, but 121st in red zone defense. Ace, let's get into the schedule. We're first up.
Yes, sir.
Banger week 0 against Memphis at home. I have as a win. Then on the road against Hawaii, I have as a win. Then on the road against North Texas, I have as a win.
I also have as a win.
Then on the road against Akron, I have as a win. Then at home against Cal, I have as a loss.
I also have that as a loss. No way.
Then at home against North Dakota State, I actually have this as a loss.
I'm not mad at that. I went back and forth with that, but I have it as a win.
Yeah, I had it as a win, scribbled it out, had it as a loss. Um, at Air Force, I have as a win.
Another one I went back and forth with. I have it as a win though.
Yeah, I was thinking about this one too because Air Force in that option could pose some troubles for UNLV in that defense. But I think athletically, UNLV poses trouble for Air Force. At
Yeah,
home against NIU, I have as a win.
I also have it as a win.
At home against Wyoming, I have as a win.
I have it as a win.
On the road against New Mexico, I have as a win.
Another one I was like, but I have it as a win.
On the road against San Jose State, I have as a win.
I have it as a win as well.
And at home, senior night against Nevada in a rivalry game, I have as a win.
I also have it as a win. I think it's going to be a very good season for UNLV. They are the ones to knock off in this conference for a reason.
Yep, I have them finishing 10-2, 7-1, taking the over 8.5 win total for UNLV.
Yes, sir. I have them at what?
I think you got them
I only
11
have
and
one
1,
loss,
8
one
and 0.
loss. Yeah, 11
Yeah,
and 1. Yeah, 11 and 1.
11 and 1, 8 and 0 for Ace. I
Yeah.
almost, like I said, I almost had that.
Because I had to look at the one I scratched. I was like, wait, oh yeah.
I had them at 11 and 1, 8 and 0 at first too, but then I
Could
changed
have
them up.
easily been 10 and 2,
Yeah.
but yeah, I might just lean into they're the champion. It's their time, you know?
Yeah, and they let out a huge sigh of relief. Finally, we did it for the school.
Right.
But
Yeah,
Ace,
finally got it done.
yep, my 10 teams are exhausted. You still have a Sun Belt champion left. Would you like to tell the
I
people
had
who's your Sun
I would
Belt champ?
absolutely love to. I would absolutely love to talk about it. And I have a team that it's probably going to be surprising. I think it's a bold pick. You know what I mean? This is the team that came off. They weren't even a bowl team last year. You know, the team that I'm talking about is Marshall, the Marshall Thunder and Herd. Now you may ask, why did I pick Marshall? I picked Marshall for one reason and one reason only. I picked him because of Carlos Del Rio Wilson. I think that he
Disgusting.
is.
Disgusting.
No,
Very
wait.
disgusting. Very
No,
disgusting of you.
I like bruh. I like bruh. So like, I don't think he's like. I don't think he's
Hey,
Johnny Manziel or anything. But bruh got talent, son. He has
I
talent.
remember him at Syracuse, bro. No.
Right, bro, I got talent, bro. And I think when you just put him in the Sun Belt, bro, I think he can make some shape. Also, this team only they lost like 4 games by less than a touchdown last year. Um, and one of them in double overtime. And I know that it's not great to judge teams off of what they
Last
did
year.
last year, particularly these. But when
Mhm.
he came in last year, Marshall kind of got they offense had a bit more of a spark to it. It would look more fluid than it did previously. So I'm just thinking that another year for him, I think he could just. I think he's could possibly be one of the better players in that league, if not one of the best players in that league. I just believe in them. I believe in them. I'm not gonna act like this is a completely analytical take. I'm not gonna act
No,
like
you
this
said
is
it's a bold
anything
take,
other.
so I respect it.
Yeah, you know what
But
I mean.
no,
But and
disgusting.
then and then, and then across the roster, they do have a lot of players that are projected to be all Sun Belt players. Now, whether that's first team, third team, whatever, they are high on them. Jalen Slappy coming back on the line. Tariq Montgomery, I believe, one is on the right, one's on the left, one's a guard, one's a tackle. But I think those guys can help Joe Sean Barbie be have another decent season there as the running back, get the running game going. I think I want to say they had the top 25 run game last year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but
I can look it up.
yeah, I think the conversion of losing those close games last year, I think it may help them. I think the defense may take a bit of a step up. They have a lot of cohesion coming back. I think a lot of their transfer players are players that you know, weren't necessarily getting. I think the players that they bring back on defense were players that were getting burned last year. So
So
I just like them. I'm not going to be like, yeah, this is going to be the best Marshall team ever. But I think that their floor is pretty decent, and I think that they can get to the championship, and I think they can win, man. And granted,
So
yes, we have James Madison there. I think James Madison is great. If I didn't pick Marshall with this bold pick, I would probably pick James Madison.
Marshall was 22nd in the country in rushing.
There we go. Hell yeah. See, little something.
Nah, the respect.
Then
Nah,
again,
sound good.
and the guy's a dual threat, man, and he's a dual threat that can actually pass. And I think that's kind of the bit. Like he can run. He's not like a say what you gonna say.
Nah, I ain't
Say
got
what you
nothing to say. I have nothing to say.
gonna say.
Continue.
Yeah, man. That's all. We can get to the schedule, man. I just like his chances of having some maturing and this Marshall team showing out a little bit.
So
Now,
I'll say this, and there's nothing about what you're saying. Ace told me Marshall was his Sun Belt champ. He never told me the reason behind him picking the Sun Belt champ. Matter of fact, the only thing
I
he
definitely
told me
did.
about this was nostalgia reasons, and I said, "Yeah, Rakeem Cato." That's all he told me. He did not tell me it's because of Carlos W. Wilson. Probably because he
Why
wanted to
why
save my
why ruin the
reaction.
surprise? Yeah, why
Exactly.
ruin the surprise? Why ruin the surprise? But nostalgia does play a big part of it. So it's both. It's both. But anyway, let's get to the schedule, man. All right, so first off, we had them at starting out at Penn State. I don't think anybody, by any stretch of the imagination, thinks they're going to beat Penn State, even with James Franklin gone.
I
So
mean, Matt
obviously
Campbell ain't a bad
that's a
ain't
L.
a bad head coach. Matt Campbell,
Yeah, nah.
Iowa
I
State
mean,
head
yeah,
coach.
basically play Iowa State, and I wouldn't
Yeah,
have them beating Iowa State
no.
either. Um, so then we had them at Middle Tennessee. As I said previously, I'm not high on Middle Tennessee at all, so I have that as a
Respect.
win. At Missouri State, I think that they actually lost to Missouri State last year by 1 point. I think this is a good revenge game for them, get them back rolling. So I had them going to Missouri State and winning. Next, you have Gardner Webb. Gardner Webb, I think there's a talent difference, obviously, because they are in a different division.
The FCS, yep.
So a W, yes. Next, we have at James Madison. Tricky, tricky, tricky game. But I believe I stated previously, I think that Marshall's going to go in there and they're going to win. And this win will be their statement win for the everyone else in the conference to put them on notice, let them know that, hey, this is a team that you have to deal with. And how they win this game, your guess is as good as mine.
I
But I
thought you were gonna say
definitely,
Carlos Del Rio Wilson. I was about to
I mean,
snip
look,
that out
look,
the
he's going
bud.
to have a great game. He's going to have a great game for them to win this. For them to do anything that I have them doing this season, he's going to have to be the engine to make this run. I'm sorry, it
Very
just
true.
is what it
Very
is.
true.
You know what I
Very
mean?
true.
And I like the kid, man. I think bro got talent, man, and he gonna show out a little bit. Next, Coastal Carolina at home. I have that as a W. Then we have South Alabama on a Tuesday. Very interesting. South Alabama is coming into West Virginia to play Marshall, so I think that works to their advantage, and I have them
Mm-hmm.
winning.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Old Dominion. At Old Dominion, obviously going to be a tough game, a very physical game. Um, but I have them winning. I have them winning. Like I said, I think that they are going to come in. They're going to make a statement. It's going to be a crazy year for Marshall. Next, at Georgia Southern, I do think this is when a bit of the luck and the magic
Hold on,
runs
hold
out.
on,
I
hold on.
think
Let me remind you, Max Johnson at quarterback.
yes, yes, yes. But yes, I'm not going to change this one though. I, and I'm not changing it just because I think that they have good, but they're going to. I think they have a good season, but they're going to stumble somewhere, man. You know how these conferences are, these
No,
games are. A lot of teams lose the ones that you don't think that they should lose, and
that is
going on
true.
the road could very easily happen. So, kudos you, Max Johnson. You got one. Next, next we're going to App State. App State. Well, App State is coming to West Virginia to play them. I think. Being at home, bounce back game. I think they're going to get it back in order. Then next they play Georgia State. I believe their senior day. Another good victory. Those guys are going to go out. Some good memories with that game. And then last game of the season at University of Louis. What's that? Lafayette Monroe.
Louisiana Lafayette. Oh,
Yeah,
was it UL?
Louisiana.
Is it ULM or
ULM.
ULL? Oh yeah, Louisiana
It's
Monroe.
ULM. ULM. Yeah, Monroe. Yeah, I had them winning that game. going into the Sun Belt Championship with some momentum. Now, whether they play James Madison, Old Dominion, I don't know. But I believe it's going to be a rematch, and I think Marshall will win.
All right. So final record, Ace.
Final record, I have them at sorry, let me double check, make sure I'm right. Have them at 10-2. No, yeah, it's 10-2. 10-2, 7-1 in Sun Belt.
All right. So you got the over 7.5 win total for
Yes, sir.
Marshall.
Great year. Great year. Now, will it be like this next year? Probably not, but
Yeah, because Carlos Del Rio Wilson will finally be out of college, huh? But
yeah, the magic's gone. You gotta love them 5th, 6th year guys, man.
yep. So that has been our 10 group of 5 schools to look out for. Shout out my dog Ace, as always, for coming on. Any last words for the people, Ace?
I think that might be my boldest pick I've ever done on
Oh,
this
facts.
show.
It's not even close.
By far. And I'm kind of like, dang, I should have just picked Billy Napier, man.
Nah, no, you know what? I like it though, because if you're right, you get a ton
If
of
I'm
points.
right, the
Yeah,
foresight is crazy.
yeah, for
Foresight's
sure.
crazy
You
if
get a
I'm
ton
right.
of points and you get to brag, like I told y'all. But if you're wrong, I mean, hey, nobody faults you for going out
Worst
on a
things
limb here.
happen.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
don't
for
fault you for
sure.
going out on a limb. Uh,
Nah, but
like,
yeah, man. Thanks for having me though. Like as always, it's been great. I'm fine. I'm glad that we're finally at this show because this means that the season is
ooh,
upon us, man. We got less like what 6 days
6
until we
days
get
left.
college football back, man. This is gonna be a great season. I hope you guys enjoy it like how we are going to enjoy it. And hopefully I'll be back on here later in the season to talk, some mid-season stuff. And we'll,
Of
we'll we'll
course.
definitely tap in.
Of course, all you gotta do is just let me know. You're all open door policy. But for sure, man, 6 days away. This is the last weekend for quite some time with no college football. So soak it up because next Saturday
Yeah.
we got week 0, UNC,
Yeah.
TCU in Dublin. Now granted, I don't know why they did the people of Dublin like that to give them a game like that, but hey, it is what it is.
Please, please stop doing that. Oh my gosh. Can we please? Can we please?
Hey,
Like,
hey, I will say the underdogs are
ridiculous.
undefeated in Dublin. So UNC, there's some hope.
Stop playing the Ireland. Hey, stop playing football in Europe. Please.
Oh, bro, an NFL team is coming to Europe. By the way, I know this is a college show,
Yeah, I
but
know. I know. I know. I know.
it's
And
unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
it's
I don't like it. I know players
uh,
are not going to like it.
yeah, I don't want to get anti-capitalist on here, but
Nah,
where does the buck stop? I mean, come on.
you're
Why can't they
you're not
just have
wrong.
their own league?
We
I don't
had the NFL
understand
Europe
that.
when we were kids.
Yeah, but you see, nobody had interest in that. You
No,
you saw those teams on Madden and you went straight past them.
no, I'm not gonna lie.
But
I did. I was the weird one that didn't. I actually wanted to play as the Fire and all that. I can't lie. But I didn't know it was NFL Europe. I was just intrigued because it was
hey,
different.
James Harrison played in NFL Europe, so I mean, respect, I guess.
Yeah,
But
but I
I
thought it
can't
was
do it,
different.
man.
I just liked it because it was different. I didn't know it was NFL Europe at the time.
Yeah,
I just thought it was
look,
just yeah.
does the NFL having a developmental league seem like a good idea? Of course, I think it is a good idea, but also I think football is one of those sports where it's like the the toll that it takes to have a
Yeah,
developmental team is kind of like it could be a bit counterintuitive because some of these guys could get so banged up that they're never going to have the opportunity
I see.
anyway,
Yeah, actually, what you're saying. I mean,
But
but you got, like
you
you
know,
said, you got your James Harrisons. You got, I mean, I don't know if Kurt want to play. I think Kurt want to play NFL
I
Europe for
think he
some time.
did.
Yeah.
I think he
So you
did.
got some stories out of it, but I'd rather NFL Europe than a NFL team in Europe. Like, I would rather that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Agreed.
Yep. But my final
I'm
words.
actually.
Oh, go ahead.
I
Go
thought
ahead.
about that.
No,
No,
go.
no, no. I was about to say I'm actually going to a Canadian football game in a couple weeks, but
Oh,
we're not
salute.
doing that. We're going. No, we're not. We're going to a baseball game instead.
I
Just
was about
thought
to
about
say
it.
salute. I mean, I don't know how hard it is, passing the border, but that'd have been kind of interesting. Um,
Yeah.
but my final words, Michigan State, please. By that time when my nerves get bad, just make a bowl game. Um, Again, shout out Ace for giving me his 10 teams and coming on and talking college football with me. Miami fan, of course, so repping the U. Um,
You already know what's going on.
Hashtag if you're new here, hashtag not a JMU fan, but they are a group of 5 schools, so I wear the conference I'm talking about, or the G5 I'm talking about. Now for my playoff, because this ain't the last preseason show. I do a show where I predict the college football playoff, the bracket, and the awards. So I don't know when that show will be yet, because we got the we got the NFL divisional panels coming up this week. So I'm going to say it'll be any day between Tuesday and Thursday. I know it'll be the last day of Thursday, because Friday is when I'm gonna have to do my week 0 preview, unless I do it Saturday morning. So I got to work Saturday, but Saturday around noon, I should be in the back doing nothing but watching college football. But
100%.
yeah, but I know it won't be. It'll be before Friday. I just don't know which day yet. But stay tuned. It will be soon, and that's my last show before the week 0 preview show. So make sure y'all tune into that. Now I got to do some cleaning up, because we are a network. So please, again, like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already to this channel. And I appreciate you if you've been with us thus far, because it's been a long ride. But we also got the main show featuring me and Tomo, which next week will not be on our scheduled program. We're normally scheduled from Monday and Thursday, 7 to about 8:30-ish. But again, division panels are next week, so that is priority. So we will only be on our division panels, which the AFC North panel should be Thursday at 7 o'clock. So you'll see me and Ace be frenemies Thursday.
Yeah,
normally be cool,
not so polite to each other.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be so cool Thursday. So that's always fun. Division panels are always fun.
100%.
We have BWT baseball with Teddy for your baseball needs. Check out Teddy. Hasn't been live in a while, but we'll see him eventually. We got FCC fantasy football with Coach Coombs. Football with Coach Coombs, excuse me, which he's dropping his season predictions for teams. So be on the lookout for those. They're dropping on his channel. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe for that. And fantasy football is around the corner. So if your draft is coming up, tune in to Coach. We have Dave's Doghouse, who just dropped the episode, I believe, yesterday, if not yesterday, Friday. But highlights and lowlights of sport. So make sure you check out Dave's Doghouse, the most unique show on the channel. We have RBO, Real Ballers Only, he's now going live Wednesdays at 9. That's his set time. He just dropped the episode Wednesday. His content is mainly NBA, but he just dropped some WNBA content on Wednesday, doing his top 5 MVP in the WNBA. I had some disagreements, but I'm not mad at his 1 and 2. I like Olivia Miles as my 1, but I know Asia's having a great year. She's having a record-breaking year, to be honest. But
I don't know, man. Olivia Miles is going so crazy right now.
Going insane. And nobody had them being the number 1 seed while Fee was gone, too. And I get the whole team is having a good year, but Miles as a rookie has just been leading the charge. But that's RBO, so make sure you check him out. We have Zero Sports Talk with Griffey, who went live yesterday. He talked about the Lakers and their situation with being bought out. He talked about some other stuff too. I can't remember at the moment, but make sure you check him out. He covers multiple sports on the channel. And we have In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo boxing episodes for all your boxing needs. You check out In the Red Corner. They go live on Sundays, not every Sunday, but when they do go live on Sundays around 6:30. So for all your boxing needs, check them out. Last week's episode was fun to watch. I definitely watched it while I was working on my podcast on my own. So make sure you check them out. And last but not least, family to the show. We got AJ's Birds, where AJ talks about his Eagles. So if you're an Eagles fan, or you just want to hear about the Eagles, or you just like hearing about the NFL, make sure you check out AJ's Birds on his channel, Timeout or Full Timeout. But that's all I got for y'all today. Stay tuned for my next episode doing the playoff and the preseason award, my award picks for like Heisman, Davey O'Brien, Maxwell, Bronco Nagurski, all that good stuff. Again, shout out Ace. But with that being said,
wait, before we call out, I'll just give out my quick.
Oh my God, here Maxwell. We go. Go up to you, bro.
Darian Minson, Malachi Tony, Mark Fletcher, Cooper Barkay. Whoever, it don't matter. The U was coming for everything. We are about to win it all. Oh my God, I cannot wait. I wish y'all could feel what I feel, but you can't, because you ain't been a king. And I'm sorry for that, but you know what? It is how it's got. It's just how it's got to be.
45-31. And with that being said, we are gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.